I am the #1 seed, the champion of the arena. The fans adore me because I've never lost. Yet you are afraid. Afraid that you will lose everything. Do you ever get scared of losing, Kimmy?
Well, big bro, I think we should cherish the joy and excitement of each game. Not who won or lost.
That's right. I'll strive for victory, but I won't lose myself in its pursuit. World Championship. I'm back.
In this age of technology, martial arts has evolved too. I won't rest until I crush the Trinity Syndicate!
Spirit
am the #1 seed. The champion of the arena. The fans adore me because I've never lost. Yet you are afraid. Afraid that you will lose everything. Do you ever get scared of losing, Kimmy?
Well, big girl, I think we should cherish the joy and excitement of each game. Not who won or lost.
That's right. I'll strive for victory, but I won't lose myself in its pursuit. World Championship. I'm back.
In this age of technology, martial arts has evolved too. I won't rest until I crush the Trinity Syndicate!
Spirit of the Brush!
the #1 seed, the champion of the arena. The fans adore me because I've never lost. You are afraid that you will lose everything. Do you ever get scared of losing, Kimmy?
Well, big bro, I think we should cherish the joy and excitement of each game. Not who won or lost.
That's right. I'll strive for victory, but I won't lose myself in its pursuit. World Championship. I'm back.
In this age of technology, martial arts has evolved too. I won't rest until I crush the
Spirit of the brush! I summon thee!
Welcome everyone to the MLDT Season 7. Witness the competition as teams from the C, EU, and North America region compete to emerge as the top team in their respective areas and claim the title of MLDT Regional Champions. Guys, diamond and permanent skin, exclusive champion roles in the official MLBB Discord server are going to be the tournament prize, so make sure to come through. And also, we have stream rewards for anyone that's watching out there. Viewers can collect in-game rewards through the streams by collecting redeem codes and exchanging it at redeem.halpy.com. Now, guys, this is going to be a best-of-5 series between Apex Predator and Shadow 9. They've been here fighting for their spot. 16 teams from North America and also 48 teams total in the whole MLDT championships. Guys, we are going to jump into the game. And today on the casting desk, we have myself, UA,
Your team is banning.
and myself only. But guys, we're going to jump straight into the match. Got some bans on the table. Apex Predator. Was it Apex Predator? Apex Academy? Apex Predator on the blue side. And also Shadow 9 on the right. Now, me personally, I've known a few of the Apex Predator for a very, very long time. Actually, hosted by one of my good friends, Athena, out there. If you're watching, shout outs to you. But Apex, they've gone a long way, winning every single match in such a dominating fashion, all the way leading into this grand finals match. And you know, Shadow 9 here, I do believe it's an MLSA team. I've seen them, you know, a few times before. I'm a little bit unsure, but I've definitely seen some of their players myself. Bans are on the table. Fanny Nolan gets banned out by the side of Apex. And on the other hand, you have Joy and the Valentina. Now, some things that should kind of be looked to prioritize in this game. I like the Bruno pick. I'm excited to see which team is looking to take it up. I believe that is going to be the best marksman still so far, even with the Hasclaw's nerf and the Bruno's nerf. I still believe Bruno does quite well here. And on the other hand, I like the Faramis, the Gwen, the Arlott. Those are all strong picks. The Terizla, Matilda. As you know, we talk about it. Matilda does get banned out, but a new patch coming through, right? And the Joy and the Valentina gets banned out from the side of Shadow 9. The Joy honestly has been buffed in the recent patch. I do know Valentina has been changed throughout a lot of these patches. They've been trying to balance her for a long time. Recently, I felt like she is in a pretty stable position. She's still highly prioritized as one of the best mages, probably the top 3 at the very least, around, you know, the Navaria, the Faramis. So, you know, the Valentina definitely still very impactful. And the Angela gets banned out here. Angela has been such a stable pick in majority of the games. I actually got to play an Angela game recently, so you know, I definitely enjoyed that myself. Now, both teams' bans are done, set in stone on the table. I think we could expect maybe, you know, Apex prioritizing some of the XP lane. The Terizla and also the Arlots are both available. I also do know this Tonka person, he has a pretty good Esmeralda, so, you know, definitely look to have that being slotted. The Faramis, the Gwen are both strong picks as we see the side of Apex looking to pick up this Gwen. Now, I've heard from a little birdie, right? The Guinevere, it can be slotted into that roam position, but guys, we're definitely going to have a redeem code coming up in this draft here. Just wait a little bit. A moment. Production's going to get that story up for us. The counterplay coming through here. Shadow 9 coming out with the Kufra, potentially hovering over. I like the Kufra pick, right? The bouncing ball can deny a lot of what Gwen's mobility. It can kind of lock her down in the place. Kind of want to see a Bruno being picked up, or even maybe the Faramis coming up, but no.
Your team
The Lilia is going to be the choice of Shadow 9. Now, Lilia has been receiving some interesting changes, right? They ended up taking away her ability to refresh her balls on the ultimate, but on the other hand, they added significantly less cooldowns on her ball skills. So it's actually quite a good buff. It kind of changed Lilia from this like early game monster, especially when he hits the ultimate. You know, he could, you know, fire out 10 balls at a time into something that's much more secure late game, right? 50% cooldown off on her, you know, her second skill makes it where she could really just spam spells unlimited times. And guys, once again, this is a grand finals match, best of 5 series between both of these teams. So get hyped up in the chat, please. And I see a lot of people in the chat, Spade, Dookie, Rico's all sitting down in there. But, you know, honestly, we have to thank the productions behind the scenes. My good friend Ghost has been working day and night coming through. But yes, the redeem code is going to be in the chat. So make sure to go out and grab the redeem code. Again, it's the first come, first serve. So make sure to go redeem. And we're going to have a bunch of redeems throughout the stream. So make sure to just come out and support us. Drop a like. Show some love in the chat. Apex coming out with the Novaria and the Brody. The Brody, I think it's going to be a little bit better against the Kufra and also the Lilia because it does have a better dash. Bruno kind of gets destroyed when it comes down to the Lilia matchup. I like it, but I'm hoping to see maybe we're gonna, you know, potentially get a Bruno banned out here just to make sure, you know, the side of Shadow9 doesn't take it. But the Novaria, I do think this Novaria pick is actually going to be much better than the Lilia. Novaria brings a lot of the range, a lot of the sustains, not sustains, but it brings a lot of lane clearing. So, you know, typically it's going to be hard to shove the Novaria in. And, you know, the side of Apex, a lot of new names, a lot of old names, you know, definitely familiar in terms of their brand, but definitely having a lot of new players coming onto the roster this time around. The Minotaur and the Martis does get banned out here. Martis has been quite a strong jungler pick. Even with the recent nerfs, I still feel like Martis does quite well. Next in line, definitely Fredrin is going to be quite the jungle pick coming up. So definitely expecting a Fredrin coming out from Shadow9 unless Apex decides to ban it out themselves. The Yuzan gets taken away from the side of Shadow9, so that still opens heroes like the Terizla, the Benedetta, the Chow, that, you know, could be potentially slotted into the XP position. But the Rithel gets banned out here to protect against the Brody. Now Shadow9 cooking with decisions. The 1-1 is still available. I would actually like to see a 1-1 here, right? With the unlimited dashes that the 1-1 has, it's going to make Novaria have an extremely hard time dealing damage to that 1-1. It doesn't really do too well against the Brody early on because the Brody actually comes out and bullies much often. But I still think the 1-1 does well. It has a Purify to negate the stun coming out from that Guinevere. So, Shadow9, I'm cooking, hovering over this 1-1. You know, the Popo and Koopa, it's okay, right? It doesn't really have a dash ability, so the 1-1's going to be able to have a free set. But no, they don't go for the 1-1, they go for the Bruno. I like the Bruno pick. Bruno and Arla are both very, very high tier picks. So I do like what's coming out for the side of Shadow9. Now, the side of Apex, they still have opportunity to pick the Diggy. So maybe, you know, going for the Diggy might be something that they can potentially try out. But in terms of everything else, there's still going to be a lot on the board. I like the Grok. You know, they could flex the Guac and the Gwen onto the roam and the jungle position. But I do think now they're going to be missing an XP. The Terizla is definitely still a good option, the Benedetta and also the Chow. So I don't think they're going to go anywhere besides that. But no, Tonka comes out and picks the X-Borg. The X-Borg does quite well, especially with the new 1111 skin. So make sure if you guys are missing an X-Borg skin, go out and check that out. But guys, the draft is going to be secured for the side of Apex Predators. How do you guys like it so far? The Brody, you know, is going to have a significantly better. It's not going to have a significantly better. Bruno and Brody are both going to be those high burst, high damage, high early game heroes. Brody can build a little bit more defense early on, but on the other hand, there's still it's going to be quite hard, right? The Grok does well against the Kufra. I think that's going to be a counter matchup. But the Kufra is still going to be able to set well as long as he hits onto the priority targets. So definitely going to be, I feel like there's going to be a stronger early game, especially in the gold side and the roam coming out from Shadow9. And even in the mid position, the Lulu is going to have a great time at mid. Even though Navarre is going to be able to clear first, I think Lilia's just provides a lot more sustain and utility early on. And ooh, a Esmeralda jungle coming out from Shadow9. But guys, we are going to game 1 between Shadow9 and Apex Predator. This is going to be a best of 5 series. Both teams are locked in their draft. And wow, a Xborg versus an R-Lot here. I do think the R-Lot is going to come out ahead, especially in the early game. But when we go into the late game where R-Lot doesn't do that much damage and just only has the sustain, I feel like the Xborg is going to come out on top. In terms of the jungle, I do have to give it to the Guinevere, right? The Guinevere honestly does so well. And look at that skin. It's, personally for me, I think that's one of the best skins coming out into the game. I'm kind of disappointed that I didn't actually buy the skins myself. But guys, we're jumping into the game. Apex Predator versus Shadow9. This is going to be the first game of the best of 5 series. Coming into the match, both junglers looking to start on to that blue side, so it does mean both teams are going to look to clash on the opposite side. The Guinevere has already used the Retribution versus I'm Cooking has decided to save it, so Carl is definitely going to have a faster time jungling in this buff. You could already see the difference coming out, but the Esme actually doesn't do too bad in the jungle. He's rotating onto the top side, so Shadow9 definitely looking to pressure onto that gold lane a little bit early. They may have a 4-man rotation coming out at about like the 1 minute and 45 mark. Little cabbage looking like Apex are going to be able to take it, but hey man, these are both the finals, the grand finals for the MLDT region, so we're definitely going to see a very, very strong game. Now let's look at some of the matchups coming out, right? I kind of went over it already. I feel like Tonka is going to have a great time onto this boss side. The R-Lot is not going to be able to do too much damage significantly against the Xborg early on, but it does look like Master Orkana, a little bit of a bad situation, did end up using that flicker, so he's not going to have that flicker available onto the boss side. But take a look at the top side. Kufra charging in the bush, not going to be able to go through with anything. I think that's going to be a good decision. I'm Cooking, trying to deny some of the camps here, both teams being extremely annoying. I feel like Apex has a little bit of an advantage, as you know, there's not as many people onto the onto the map now. This is going to be for Ghost. You can definitely zoom out on the top side to give us a bigger view on the screen. Carl looking to chase the middle a little bit here, but does not get the jump. Apex do end up starting the very first turtle, and you know, definitely it feels like Apex has the advantage here. Esme, it does look like he is going to be just giving that away. Colin in a pretty good position, but does get chunked quite low here. It does look like they're going to look to go for that wild charge here, but it ends up missing. The falling star coming through onto the mid side, does not hit anyone there, and Ogwin gets out alive. 0-0 still on the board. A small gold lead for the side of Apex so far. It's not going to be a sizable lead, so definitely not too much action happening here. Let's take a look at some of the spells on the board. Quantum charges going through for both of the marksmans. Some of the items coming up too. You do see the what is it called? The best plate, the I don't even know what it's called, but both armor items built for the marksmans. I like that. That provides a lot of the late game utility, but the ultimate comes out from the Noir. Gets the snipe coming through. Carl looking to grab up another target. Ogwin is going to be the one that chunks low, but I'm Cooking. He's still alive here. The side of Shadow9 looking to push a little bit more, try to get a little bit of revenge for their teammate, but they're not going to be able to get anything. Tonka rotating on to the top side, catches this Esmeralda, but isn't going to do too much. Look at the top side right here. Only one's left. Does get auto attacked and taken off the board. So Finn is going to have a great time on the top, but Alan looking to defend onto the top side here. Not bad so far coming out from both teams. Still in a sizable advantage for the size of Apex Predators, but Shadow9 still in this game so far. Esmeralda, interesting build, looking to build up to maybe an Ice Queen wand early on. The Bruno going for that Has Claws, but mid, a clash coming through. Alan Chunk dangerously low is able to get out quite a way. 2-0 is going to be the overall scoreboard as the side of Apex looking to set up onto this top side. 3-man rotations, but the units of Shadow9 coming through on to the top, but nothing is going to happen. Both teams looking to disengage. I think they're saving their ults for the turtles, and I do think that is going to be the right decision here. For mid, Baby Legend flickers out, but I'm cooking right here, looking to chase, deal some damage onto that Grok, but that Grok is so tanky. Look at that. The ultimate comes out, hits 2-man, but only 1-man is going to be stunned up. Falling Star mood completely gets missed. And the flicker wild charge coming through onto I'm cooking, but Ogun is going to be the first one coming down. Tonka coming through on this battle, choke dangerously low into the Cooper. They're able to grab up one, but the trade comes through. Mastroros is going to be the next one that falls. Tonka, chunk dangerously low here, and Finn, next one on the chopping block. Only one is left. Gets sniped by the Navaria. A 3-0, a 3-for-1 trade. Advantage for the side of Apex, and they're looking to get away here quite well. But the side of Shadow9, they're definitely still looking to take onto this next objective. But the retribution comes out from Carl. Beautiful retribution coming through, and the last insanity coming out from Tonka. Did not able to close onto I'm cooking, but they do end up picking that Lilia. Man, Apex Predator here picking up every single kill from the left to the right side. They're able to grab up this top tower. Also, 6-1 is going to be the scoreboard, but the trade on the other side of the map, Master is definitely going to be able to get that. But 2-man set coming out from Carl, able to get the knock up onto the wild charge, and the CC comes through. Finn also coming out with the flicker, able to grab up another kill for the side of Apex. They're snowballing this gold lane so well. Let's take a look at some of the gold lead coming out, but before we go into that, Tonka chunked low, and Mastero able to take care of business right there, looking to get onto the Baby Legend. The damage is going to be there, but the follow-up is not. Mastero has to look back out. The retribution comes out, and Carl ends up taking that kill. 10-2 going to be on the scoreboard. 4K gold lead for the side of Apex Predator as they look to snowball this into the late game. Item check on the board, please. Do you see that the export built up to the Ice Queen wand? The Calamity does get built up, or I don't know if that's called the Calamity anymore, but the Esmeralda has built up that scythe right there. Bruno has the Hash Claws looking to build up into that Berserkers. The cooldown has already been built for the Navaria, and also the penetration being built up by Guinevere, so it's definitely going to be dealing a lot of damage now. Looking to rotate on this boss side. I do think the switch is quite good. The Navaria ult hits 3 members. They're going to have vision of every single member for the side of Shadow9. And the third turtle spawning in Apex has been completely dominant in their takings of all the neutral objectives, and they're definitely looking to take on to another one here. But the jungler's onto the top side, and I don't think Shadow9 can take the objectives themselves, so they're just kind of waiting like sitting ducks here. Not good so far from the side of Shadow9. Snipe comes through, able to hit onto the Lilia, so chunked a little bit low. Apex chunking this turtle so fast. Retribution coming out, but the Esme is the one that gets it. But the 2-man wild charge coming out with the 2-man set coming out from Carl, able to pick up 2 targets. A 3-4-0 trade for the side of Apex as they snowball in. The Bruno's just not doing the work right now, sitting at a whopping 0-3-1. Finn taking care of business is going to get this outer tower here. So Apex with the gold lead, with the towers lead, the objective lead, and the XP. You know, if you take a look at some of the level gaps in between, you could see a Finn at level 11 against that level 9. But the bot side here, Mastoro looking to grab up something. They see if he can chew for that, but he ends up getting chunked here by Sir Finn. 5-0-6 is going to be that Brody score on the board, taking care of business here, doing quite well for himself. Apex doing good with their 6K advantage, looking to get a little bit more even. And the Guinevere, right? Kind of talked about it in the draft. He was a first pick priority for the side of Apex. And, you know, you can't you can't be taking that Guinevere like that on the first pick. Ooh, the set coming out from Allen. But unfortunately, they're not going to be able to get anything as the Brody taking care of business onto the boss side picks up that last outer tower. The gold lead now is just pushing in favor for the side of Apex. This doesn't really feel like Shadow 9 has a response so far. It could be the draft coming out. It could just be how Apex is just grouped up so extremely nicely. And they're not really giving any breathing room for the side of Shadow 9. They take care of all the outer towers. And this is what I call a good macro game, right? If you're able to take care of all the outer towers before that very first load, I say that's a very, very good advantage for their team here. Now, 9K gold lead for the side of Apex. 14-2 is going to be the scoreboard out of 10 minutes match. They're on track to ending this game in the very second Lord. But for the side of Shadow 9, what do they got to do now, right? Number one, they do have to see if they can find a shutdown onto Finn, onto Carl, and also onto Baby Legend. Those, those Ks are just doing quite well. 0 deaths on the board for them. Tonka looking to zone out a lot of the members. I don't think they're going to be able to get anything. That's an immortality on the export. That's like 4 deaths that the export can take with the immortality and the passive. So there's not really going to be too much on the side of Shadow. They have to find the Kufra, getting that set onto the priority targets. People like Finn, Carl, the Novaria, but without an assassin here, it's going to be extremely hard to get onto that backside. And the sync coming out from Apex, they're looking to sync. They got the sync onto the top side. This freeze onto the bottom, I'm not really sure if that's exactly what we are looking for. But the Lord marching down onto the mid now. Does seem like the side of Shadow 9 looking to clear, see if they can get that. But damn, look at that bot side tower. It's just completely going down. Guinevere looking to go in. The Lord is still full health, and last sanity coming through onto the mid. Black Shoes comes out with the utility. The flicker player also coming out. Allen tries to get the set, but nothing comes out. A trade coming out from that the mid lane onto that Grok, and the base chunk dangerously low. Is Apex going to be able to get it? And yes, Apex secures game 1 of this best of 5 series between Apex and Shadow 9. Coming out with the game victory score. It's going to be a 15-3 match score. 11 minutes total, dominating performance from the side of Apex. And, that's kind of what we expected, right? Apex has been dominating this matchup quite well. Finn sitting at a 6-0-6, grabs up that MVP call, trailing a little bit shortly behind 4-0-6, and also the Novaria played a perfect game as well. Tonka definitely did quite well, and also the Grok, we were able to see a few wild charges. Now, let's take a look at some of the datas coming out from these teams here. You see a high kill participation coming out from Finn, with a 80% kill participation, along with the highest damage. Tonka actually doing extremely well himself. 24% damage dealt also. And again, Baby Legend also done quite well. So all the carries from Apex have been doing extremely good. But guys, maybe like a 2-minute break, but there is a redeem code on the board, so make sure to come out and redeem your codes. If we're not going to take a break, we could jump straight into the match, but let's take a 2-minute break here. Go.
Spirit of the brush! I summon
the number 1 seed. Champion.
This is going to be Shadow9 versus Apex Predator. Best of 5 series. Game 2, Apex with a dominating performance with that Guinevere and also the Brody. And, you know, the Brody, it's definitely a very, very good marksman, but it shouldn't dominate the matchup as badly as he was able to do that last time. I definitely feel like Apex had a very, very well-rounded draft there. But there's definitely going to be some things that are going to be prioritized by both teams, right? The Valentina did get banned out, so I do think that's something that maybe is going to be left open this time around. The Guinevere also did quite well last game, so maybe look to, for the side of Shadow9, looking to take that Guinevere out. I do think that is going to be something that they should look for there. The Arlot actually did quite well himself too, but the expert kind of just overpowered him from that early, mid, and into the late game. So Shadow9, they definitely have to look for, you know, maybe better laning, right? The Brody and the Bruno, maybe look to ban out one of them, take the other. Don't let the other team get that early game marksman pick. The Navaria also, I feel like it's just a much better mage compared to that Lilia, even though I think the Lilia has quite a high win rate in the professional scenes. I just didn't get to see the Lilia do quite much. There's also, you know, options on a lot of the roam picks, right? Maybe don't look to ban out the Matilda, the Angela, look to play that themselves. That could definitely change the tide of the games. And I also feel like the Esmeralda jungle is not it. The Fredrin can definitely CC a little bit more, provide a lot more utility, maybe get a few more retries off. The Esme was able to grab up that very third objective on the turtle, but it still just didn't do as good as I felt like it could have done. Joy, Fanny, and Matilda get spanned out from the side of Shadow9. And the side of Apex here, banning out the Nolan, the Valentina. There's still a lot on the board, right? The Angela, the Bruno, the Faramis, the Gwen, the Arlot, Terizla, Martis. Martis got banned out during that very first match, so definitely still available. The Boxer and the Fredrin are honestly both still relatively solid picks. So I definitely feel like Shadow9, they should look to stick to the meta in terms of their draft, right? Last game, they either got hard outclashed. It could also be the rotation difference coming out from Apex, just playing a little bit better. Now, the Angela gets banned out. Potential Guinevere first pick here. Side of Apex, if, you know, Shadow9 is not going to pick up the Guinevere, I could definitely see the Guinevere being slotted in. Also, along with the Navaria, those two picks have been doing quite well. And definitely a Brody prioritization coming out from Apex. Those 3 picks are definitely good picks coming out from the side of Apex. But Shadow9, definitely recommend to deny some of those picks coming out. I feel like the Gwen is also quite well. The Faramis also is a strong pick. I'm surprised we do not get to see it in action, especially after the Valentina being banned out. And talking about the Faramis, the Faramis gets picked, but I would not be surprised to see something like a Guinevere Brody, which deals AoE damage. They could also go with a Claude that, you know, can take out the Faramis themselves. The Guinevere does get picked up here. Maybe the Terizla, right? The Nether Realm coming out from the Faramis can get countered by the penalty zone coming out from the Terizla. So that might definitely be an option there. They could also go for the Navaria, which does quite well. Please don't go the Lilia, man. We've seen the Lilia come through the line. Oh, the Lilia actually does quite well against the Faramis. So that's a potential pick against that, against the Nether Realm. So yes, Apex do end up picking up this Lilia pick here. Some things I would recommend, maybe the Brody, right? The Brody did so well in game 1 that I definitely feel like they should look to deny that pick. Maybe go for something like a Brody Fredrin, a Brody Martis, Boxia. They can even hop to go onto that XP lane. Maybe take the Terizla themselves. But I definitely think Brody should be highly prioritized. If not Brody, maybe the 1-1, right? Take the 1-1, ban out the Brody Bruno. I think that's a good trade. For the side of Apex, they definitely still have another pick up their sleeves. They can look to protect and pick up that marksman early. The Yuzong gets picked up. The Yuzong, you know, it's a good pick. The Black Dragon's always going to be good, and the Kaja, man, I like that Kaja. That's a pick that I haven't really talked about much often here, but the Kaja does quite well into any matchup. It's honestly a solid pick here, but the counterplay coming out is going to be the Cow. This is a signature pick coming out from the side of Apex. I know Athena herself loves to play this Cow, and seeing this, you know, brings back a lot of memories in the early days. So definitely a strong pick coming out. I definitely agree with the option here. It provides a second knock up for Guinevere to hit her ultimate. So definitely look to have a small wombo combo coming out. Do we get a code here? Maybe potentially we do get a code. Maybe the code already came through. I'm not sure. But Apex right here looking to put some bans on the table. Banned out this carry here. Carry, very, very solid pick. You know, can shred a lot of the front lines, especially if the Guinevere and the Minotaur are looking to play that tank position. The Rithel does get banned out, so potential Brody pick. I feel like the side of Shadow9, they have to look to ban out the Brody. Right, the Brody does quite well. They can also look to ban out the Melissa to go away, and also the first skill counters pretty much the whole entire lineup coming out from Shadow9 right now. So the Melissa is honestly a solid option. I don't think it's a ban-worthy option, but I think it's a solid pick themselves. The Martis denying some of the crowd control immunity for the Shadow9. So, you know, the options that the jungle options, honestly, there's still a lot. The Fredra and the Boxia. Those are both going to be good options from the side of Shadow9. Hoping to see maybe the Fredrin so they could go for a very, very good set along with the 1-1 to bring out some of the Purifiers.
Your team is picking.
But the Arlot is taken off the board. It's a deny against their own team. I'm not sure if I totally agree with it. The Terizla should definitely be set out, or maybe Apex are going to look to take the very first marksman here. I think that would be a very safe choice, right? Yeah. If it ain't broken, don't fix it. The Brody did so well, got the MVP, highest damage dealt, and kill participation of the last game. So this is definitely something that is expected. Now, Brody being slotted in, maybe they're going to look to take the Bruno once again. But I think something like the 1-1 potentially can do well. It's not going to do extremely well in the early game, but definitely is going to be able to get the crossbow tang onto the Minotaur, and along with the Divine Judgment, should be a complete free set onto the bot side. Now, jungle pick, once again, we've went over it. The Fredra and the Boxy is going to be my two options here. The 1-1 gets slotted in. I like that. That is great. Paired with the Divine Judgment, it's going to deal wonders. And it provides a lot of team fight pressure, right? The 1-1 is going to be able to mark onto the front lines. Maybe the Guinevere or the Minotaur. The Kaja can do well, but no, I'm cooking. Going for the Mobazane pick. The Granger gets slotted into the jungle. Now, definitely, I feel like things like Terizla, Chow, is going to be potential coming out from Toltnak. He could even go for the Esmeralda, which does quite well, but you know, the penalty zone coming out from Terizla is going to be good. The only one that's hard for Terizla to match or to take is going to be that 1-1. So I feel like the side of Shadow9, they have to look to get this 1-1 online as soon as possible. And he's got the new 1111 skin, right? So if you guys have not gotten the new 1111 skin, make sure to go out and grab that. It's definitely going to be a nice skin to pick up. But guys, we are looking to go into game 2 between Shadow9 and Apex Predator. And your host, you right here, is going to get some water. Welcome back, guys, to the Season 7 of the MLDT for the North America region. I'm your host, Yue here. And we got two beautiful teams, Shadow9 versus Apex Predator. And we saw a dominating Game 1 performance coming out from Apex Predator. 13, a 12-minute match onto that first Lord. So definitely looking to push on to that once again. The retribution comes out from Carl. I like that. It definitely helps the jungle speed. I'm cooking, still holding on to that retribution. That's something that I feel like is going to hurt his jungle speed quite a bit. You can already see Carl. Both teams actually opting to start from the opposite side this time. Last game, they both started onto the blue as Shadow9 looking to rotate onto the gold side. But Apex having a complete different option this time around. They're looking to rotate into the XP position. I like that. That's interesting. Tonka trading out with Master here on the bot side. If we're talking about some of the matchups, right? The Brody is going to have a much better time dealing against the 1-1, but the Kaja is going to have a much better time sustaining against the Minotaur. In terms of the mid lane, the Lilia should have a slightly faster clear, especially up against the Faramis there, but the Faramis still is going to provide quite a bit of utility. Now, members of Shadow9 grouping onto the top side. Allen looking to see a little bit of damage, but I don't think he's going to be able to do too much. I'm cooking is sitting there as the jungle from the side of Apex. It's interesting because it doesn't feel like Apex, they care about the 4-man rotation onto the top side. They're grabbing an advantage onto the opposite lane where they could deal with the numbers, the advantage coming out from Shadow9. They could, hold against this 3 versus 4. They just have to make sure they can play passive. But Carl gets the set on to the Faramis early on. It's going to be a 1-for-0 pickoff for the side of Apex as they push their lead. 300 gold here. Definitely going to have prioritized over the very first objective. Even with the Black Dragon coming out, I don't think Granger is going to have a lot available onto him. And Granger is one of those marksmen where he does deal damage, but early game, if he just doesn't have any items, he's not going to do too much. And look at Apex's position, right? They're setting up a wall onto this mid side. The Petrify coming out, and the ultimate is able to take care of that turtle. I'm cooking, taking that kill for the side of Shadow9. They have the advantage first time in this series. It's going to be almost a 1k advantage for the side of Shadow9, and they're taking control of the early game, right? This is something that, I was actually, not confident in the side of Shadow9 because it just doesn't feel like they have that advantage. But the top side, 1-1, gets off his crossbow. Tang does not secure that kill. That's going to be a huge misplay because, getting that kill onto the marksman is going to be good, but they're still going to be able to push out on to that top side. Looking at the bot now, Mastoro, they have the Yuzong, so if they're able to take that advantage early on, right? So they took the first turtle, the ultimate coming out from that Minotaur is going to be able to get the set off, and the Divine Judgment picking on to that Lilia with the black shoes. That's not the target you want to hit, especially with the black shoes available. Shadow9 making a few mistakes, but they still have their 1k advantage. And, it's honestly due to the Petrify coming out from the Black Dragon. He set that Guinevere, got that kill, and, the Granger followed up. So, quite a great performance from the Shadow9 is there. Going to be able to get it as they take out Baby Legend here. The Purify, he did have the Purify, but the damage already came through. He had to Purify a little bit earlier. The Guinevere gets a set onto this mid lane. Is that going to be 100-0? Yes! Carl picks up that kill, pushing the gold lead a little bit more even. Now Apex still down 1k gold lead, but they're looking to rotate onto the top side. The objective is definitely going to be started by Apex as they have the setups available here on this second neutral objective. Shadow9 has the vision. Allen is going to be in the front, but does get poked out and zoned away. The Minotaur does come through with the ultimate, gets onto that, and the late Black Dragonborn coming out onto this mid side, completely doing absolutely nothing for his team. But the gold is still advantaged towards the side of Shadow9. So Apex They just don't have the early game so far. It feels like the comp is just a little bit good, too good for the side of Apex so far. But, you know, maybe in terms of the mid and the late game, things are going to switch sides here. Now, top side, a little bit of a small skirmish. Allen holding on to his Divine Judgment. I think that's going to be the right idea. He has to kind of make sure that, hey, if he's getting that Divine Judgment off, it's going to be on some of the priority targets. And things like the Bruno, the Lilia, those are going to be priority targets. He can't even target the Lilia because the Black Shoes is always available there. But mid 3-man is going to be there, clearing the wave, and the side of Apex coming onto the top side. Finn coming out with a little aggressive move, doesn't get too much. If Allen was in a slightly better position, he could look to punish onto that top side, and members are rotating up. So it's definitely now or never for the side of Shadow 9, but they don't even look to engage right here. It's a 4 versus 4 coming out from both teams, and I feel like Kaja has the advantage if he's able to get the Divine Judgment off early. If he's able to get a pull, he's definitely going to have an advantage. And look at that jungle pressure already, looking to deny that blue buff here. Guinevere, they don't know. They don't know. He gets the set off, but he misses the first skill, so there's not going to be damage. And the 2-man set coming out, and also the Nether Realm coming through. But members are chunked so low from Apex. They're just getting every single kill right now. 2 to 4 is going to be the scoreboard, but the Brody gets taken off the board. Tonka, it's going to be the next one in line right here. The crossbow tank coming out from the only one. He has the marks coming through, but the ultimate, he has already used it. That's going to be out for the side of Shadow 9 as Apex grabbing the advantage now on the map. And I do believe we have another caster on board. Whenever you are ready, Rem, the floor is going to be yours, but the neutral objective does get taken away by the side of Apex here.
Honestly, looking at the rotations coming in, they're doing a really good job. I'm assuming that is Shadow 9 on the right side or the top side, though. We're seeing a good engage coming in, a good Shadow Stampede, pulling back the Minotaur. Not gonna lead to anything, though. A really good disengage, but only one left is looking for those marks. We did have the Black Shoes, but a good Divine Judgment comes in. Carl with the good knockup. He lands the ultimate. He's gonna find the Kaja. That is going to be a 2-for-0 trade in favor of Apex Predator right now.
And, you know, when we talk about Apex, right, their definitely clear goal is to make sure that Guinevere can get that set. And with Ogon right here, he's able to grab up the set onto that gold lane, but the Netherrealm coming through, I don't think that's going to be enough. And they're able to shut down the Guinevere, but the trade comes through. The Fairness also gets taken off the board. I'm cooking, looking to cook up a nice dinner, but ends up being the meal himself there.
That he almost got that kill, but it's a good response coming in from the side of Shadow 9, right? Looking at top side though, Fern is trying to push. Allen is back a little bit so he can get this tower. It is a Brody, so he does have that push potential, but in the mid lane we are seeing Tonka on this Yuzong that is now on the run away from some members. A good Shadow Stampede landing up against him there, but he's going to be able to live to tell another story.
Yeah, Apex right now with the 4K gold lead, 8 minutes in. It's a 9-4 on the scoreboard, and we saw the advantage that Shadow 9 had, and they just couldn't really keep that advantage. Now Apex is back up on the board, and you know, we see Finn earlier, he was able to grab the MVP. 6, 0, and 5 is going to be his scoreboard here. But now he's on a 3, 1, and 3. He's doing really well himself. So that's definitely a hero that Shadow 9 has to be careful of. Some of the win conditions, right? It feels like the 1-1 in the Kaja, they have to get, you know, a good divine judgment onto a combo set. But you can look, it's really weird. Apex, they're sending the jungler onto the top side. If he gets baited out by the divine judgment here, he's gonna die. But no, they don't even look to engage. Retribution coming out, but the kills are falling on the other side of the map. Black Dragon coming through, but it's a defensive Black Dragon here. They're still on this Lord. It's quite interesting here, but I feel like Apex, they definitely have to look to disengage us off this objective.
Yeah, we did see a lot of utilities being baited out there. Lord is going to go into the hands of Apex Predator and a really good zoning, but on this top side in response to Flicker as well as the penalty zone, has been used just so Tonka could be able to live to see another story. But looking at Carl, I don't think he knew that Alan spotted him. There he goes. He lands the knockup, but the Divine Judgment also lands. There goes the crossbow attack. Tonka, in response, he is able to find a knockup, but unfortunately, he's going to be knocked down, and that is going to be a 1-for-1 trade. They are looking for only one left as they try to secure this tower, but there is still a Lord marching down in the mid lane. We are seeing them setting up so they can have pressure in as much lanes as possible here, UA, and the defense for Shadow 9 is looking rough.
Yeah, but I still think the defense from Shadow 9 is just going to be a little bit better than what they had before in the last game. But topside right here, 1-1, able to KO and trade off a member, grabbing that. But he did end up getting shut down by Tonka there. And that's not something we want to see, especially on the marksman, right? The marksman has to be able to deal with the waves coming through. But I will have to say this, though. Only one left. He is playing a much better game this time around. He had the 1-1. This time around. Last game he played the Bruno, and it just didn't feel like he was able to do too much. Now item check definitely coming onto the board. It's still 6k gold lead, but Rem, take us through some of the items that they're picking up here.
We are seeing the Faramis. He did secure that Lightning Truncheon. That's going to be some burst, and a very crucial item for Alan there with that fleeting time is going to be able to get that Divine Judgment up, and they're going to be their win condition, especially when you look at the 1-1, right? She does have 2 of her core items. She opted to go in for the Wind of Nature for a little bit more survivability in the fight here. Looking at Apex Predator, just kind of sending skills across the board here, and they can afford to do that, right? They can afford to do that. If we look at the gold lead here, we're seeing a lot of 8,000s. Even the Brody, right? He has the most gold in the match right now, and the Teresa is actually pairing right behind him, and it just goes to show the synergy and the responses. Because anytime there's a team fight and it's drawn out, we see Tonka being able to get his foot into that team fight. But speaking of getting their feet into team fights here, Shadow 9, they had the possibility of finding that pickoff, but a little bit on the hesitational side. So they definitely have the damage to look and find some of these kills. They just have to commit.
Yeah, and I feel like you're right. Definitely the Divine Judgment coming out from Alan. That's going to be the win condition coming out from the side of Shadow 9. They have to get it onto the right target, though. The Brody definitely is someone that they could look for. And even Tonka himself, right? That's a 4-kill to Rizla. That is a lot of gold if they're able to shut him down. But he's also building extremely tanky. So he's going to be able to just kind of negate a lot of the damage. But the side of Shadow 9, they have the time on their side. They have 2 marksmen, so their late game is going to be quite good here. In Apex, although they only have Brody to deal with a lot of the damage, they still have a lot of max damage. But the set,
yep, we are seeing the Minion Fury going down. He is going to be popped though, but so does the another round. We're seeing Maestro with the Black Dragon flying down. That is going to be a shutdown. The crossbow attack from only one left has been triggered out, and they were able to pick up 4 kills. It's only Baby Legend and Brody on the board right now. The Black Shoes was popped. He's going to be able to escape, but Shadow 9 is going to be able to capitalize the most out of this neutral objective. I wasn't sure who was able to secure the Lord in that engage, though.
Oh, 1-1 definitely took the Lord, but I feel like Shadow 9, they have the comp available, right? They're on a losing gold lead right now, but they're still able to take care of business here. And look at only one's left, looking to see if he can get that crossbow tang off. I don't think the ultimate is still going to be available. The Black Shoes gets popped, traded for some spells here. Now the Lord marching on to the top side. I feel like Shadow 9, the reason why they're winning this quite well is because their comp is just good. The 1-1's able to scale well, 4, 2, and 2, and it's so annoying to deal with the 1-1 on the winning side. And you can see the gold lead slowly switching back in the favor of Shadow 9. Baby Legend might be in a bad position, but it still feels like they are going to do quite well. A lot of the items are being put onto the board. Tonka able to get the anti-Coas to negate some of the physical damage, along with the the blade armor. So he's definitely going to be defending quite well here. Alan, just like you're saying earlier, I feel like he's hesitating a little bit more. The side of Shadow 9, they have the advantage. They have the gold lead now, and they have 2 marksmen along with one of the best setters with the Divine Judgment. They have to find that pick just like how they did in the last fight and make sure that they can secure this 1-1 a good position and kind of prevail in some of these team fights.
Absolutely. And when you're entering the late game stages of the game, finding a pick off on a tank,
Huge.
you can take that in the late game. Early game, kind of iffy. Why would you do something like that? But if you look at Apex's composition, their only damage dealers right now is the Brody and the Lilia. They have a lot of frontline presence, yes, but the only real set potential coming in that can really turn the tables right now is going to be this Minotaur. So I find when he's checking these bushes, he's alone most of the time, right? You can get him with the Divine Judgment. You have the items on your side. You mentioned they have two of the best scaling ADCs in the game, especially only one left on this 1-1. Look for these pickoffs, find these engages. When you play so safe, you kind of throw the lead and the advantage that you have. Sometimes it's okay to make those risky plays. You give up the opportunity and then you allow the enemy team to collapse on you. Because if we take a trip down memory lane, for half of these team fights, Apex Predator is going in. And speaking of going in right now,
yep, NetherRealm coming, getting popped by the side of Shadow 9, but it's smart that the Apex decided to disengage, right? They don't really want to full send onto that NetherRealm. They did have to trade it with the Minnow and Fury, but I think that is still going to be a win because, you know, besides the Minnow and Fury, they still have the penalty zone coming out from the Terizla, along with the set potential coming out from Guinevere. So there's definitely opportunities on the board, but Shadow 9 this time around looking to leash this Lord themselves here. And, you know, we didn't really know if Shadow 9 was able to take this next objective, but it looks like they're going to go in very soon.
Yep, only one left is getting chunked down quite low. He is going to be able to get it on cooking. Definitely cooked up that Lord and took it for himself. Right now, we are seeing the Black Dragon also got popped in. No one's going to fall in that engage, though, except the Lord, which, again, did go in favor of Shadow 9.
Yeah, and I like this coming out from Shadow 9 right there. It feels like they're much more confident this time around compared to the last game. The last game, right, Rem, it ended in 11 minutes. Apex dominated in every single objective when it came down to the Lord, the Turtles, even the buffs. They were just, you know, completely denying it away. But it feels like Apex's comp, although I feel like it's quite well-rounded, it just doesn't have that, you know, what is that called? Pick-off potential, right? If they took a Franco, maybe they could go for a Flicker Bloody Hunt. But this Minnow is quite good. But you can see members of Apex, they're just kind of stuck in their base. They have a lot of frontline. They have a lot of tanky ability. But you know, heroes like Brody and Lilia, it doesn't provide. Yeah, it's just not enough. And, you know, Brody definitely builds up some of the armors, so it's just not going to be enough. But second Lord marching down, it's going to hit onto this bottom tower.
Yep, he does go in for the dive. The Black Dragon is popped. He is going in for that zoning potential so they can secure that mid lane tower. They are able to get it, though. They are still fighting. We are seeing the Manurian Fury with that Flicker combination going. A good 4-man set coming in from this Guinevere, able to help them find two members. That is Maestro as well as I'm Cooking. They are looking for only one left, though. He's going to be able to get away, but Yue, I think that might just be the turn of the century here.
Yeah, that might be a pretty good turning point for the side of Apex. They already get like 3-4-man sets, the penalty zone, Minnow and Fury, along with the Guinevere jump. They were just able to take care of so much. And they're looking to push on to this mid-size. They have the millions available, and it's a 5-for-2 against the Fairness and Codge. That's not going to be doing too much work, and they're looking to engage. Tonka pulled all the way to the base. He is definitely going to die here, but no, he ends up living, and Apex secure game 2 of this best of 5 series, Rem.
Absolutely beautiful game being played out from the side of Apex Predator. I love the combination. They knew they wanted to end out in that last team fight there. Baby Legend baiting out some of the tower shots, going all the way under the base crystal, and then popping the black shoes back to his team just so they can be able to secure some of that push potential. So really smart positioning. Tonka as well, he landed a really good penalty zone, zoning out Hamura there on this Faramis pick, which also helped them lacked some of that wave clear that they potentially needed and had the ability to clear out. So really good play from Tonka. Want to look at the statistics just a little bit to see how they really were able to push out and end this game here, because something tells me Finn on this Brody has a lot of that tower damage being secured. I'm sure of it.
Yeah, and this is going to be a 17-9 for the overall scoreboard. 19-minute match. Let's take a look at some of the statistics here. 71% kill participation by Baby Legend, 34% damage dealt. So definitely Baby Legend had a great game there. Finn also follows shortly behind with the 24% damage dealt. But Carl with a Guinevere jungle, right? You know, this is like very utility based, and he did have a very high participation along with that Minotaur, both at 65% here. Tonka also dealing quite a good amount of damage, but I felt like Shadow9, they definitely had this in the bag, right? Only ones left, just missing barely a little bit on this. Had extremely high, damage dealt. But guys, we're going to go on a 2-minute break as we set up for the next match. We're going to be right back.
Spirit of the brush! I summon
I am the #1 seed, the champion of the arena. The fans adore me because I've never lost. Yet you are afraid. Afraid that you will lose everything. Do you ever get scared of losing, Kimmy?
Well, big girl, I think we should cherish the joy and excitement of each game. Not who won or lost.
Welcome back, guys. MLDT Season 7. We have a best 5 series between the Apex Predator and Shadow9. Apex currently has a 2-0 lead, dominating fashion. A great comeback from the side of Apex on a cast and death. A warm welcome to Master Ren coming out from all the way from MLSA. Rem, how you doing?
I'm doing great. I was watching the first game, and then I came in during the second one, and the action just never seemed to stop here, right?
Yep.
But some things are going to get stopped, and that's only because they got banned out, right? We're going to see the side of Shadow9 banning out the Guinevere. I respect it, right? Her being able to find that perfect follow-up last game after the Minoan Fury.
Your team
Really
is banning.
game-changing ultimate. They escaped. They were able to outlast it with the Nether Realm. But man, the buff that Guinevere
Your team is
received,
banning.
one of the best buffs that we've seen in recent patches, hands down.
Yeah, and you know what is not going to last is going to be the code that's going to be on the screen, potentially. Make sure if the codes are coming out on the screen, go and redeem it. I know Spade is out there shooting that redeem link. So guys, make sure to come out with that. But we're going to jump into this match. Just like what you're saying, the Guinevere respect ban, I like it. It was being played 2 games in a row already for the side of Apex. So I definitely feel like they have to look to find another hero now. The Angela and the Matilda gets banned out from the side of Apex, along with the Valentina, and the Nolan gets tossed out of the game. We don't see any Nolans anymore, and the Fanny also gets taken off the board. So a lot is still available. The Trizla, the Brody, which has been doing so well in the last few games, are on the board. Arlott, Novaria, Martis, Fredrin, everything is available so far.
Absolutely, and knowing Carl's jungle style, he's definitely capable of pulling out some of the assassin junglers as well as the utility junglers, which we've seen in previous games as well. But like I mentioned, there's still a lot of strong things on the board right now, and I like when teams use their time to draft so they can really decide what they want to tile pick here. They went up and opted in for the Edith pick, and I like the Edith, right? 100% a very strong flex pick. She can roam, she can go in that EXP lane. You get some frontline presence, but you also cannot underestimate her damage capabilities as well as her chain CC potential. So definitely something smart. I would like to see them potentially flex the Edith into the roam, pick up something like the Arlott or the Terizla again for that EXP lane, just to be a little toxic. You know, they have the capabilities of pulling it off.
And talk about the toxic. You know, you mentioned the Edith pick earlier. The Edith is still one of the best roam XP flexes in the game. It provides so much damage, and all you have to do is build armor. And the response coming through the Lilia gets picked up. It's interesting because when the Lilia was in Shadows 9's hands, I felt like there was just not much of the impact. But this time around, when Apex picked it up in the game too, they were doing so extremely well with it. Now, the side of Shadow 9 is picking up themselves once again. Now the Clint coming out. Rem, I would have to disagree. The Brody has been doing so well in all of these games, but it doesn't feel like they're looking to deny or even respect that pick.
Payback.
Yeah, I think they want to go for some more of that true damage, especially if that Edith were to go into potentially the EXP lane position. I think they just want a marksman that doesn't really have to focus so much on dealing that
proof that I'm
like
still
pure
alive.
damage. So they potentially want to be able to abuse the true damage that's going to be coming in from the Clint, and then when he does build in the endless battle on top of that. But yes, he has a dash, but he also kind of lacks a little bit of, you know, mobility. And if you look at the draft coming in from Apex Predator right now, they have a fully dive composition in their first 3 picks, right? And personally, I'm a very huge fan of the Edith X Farsa combo. I think once Ogen there is able to potentially land an air shatter, and then you have Baby Legend to layer on top of that with the feathered airstrike from a safe distance as well. You have that going for you. So the side of Shadow 9, they really have to play it a little bit safe. I do like the Minotaur pick. It puts some pressure onto Baby Legend. It's gonna force him to keep the Purify. I'm assuming that's the route he's going to take, and that's gonna put him in an uncomfortable position when going up against the Lilia. So far in the first half of the drafting phase, I would say it's relatively even. I think there's answers across the board. It's just gonna come down to those early game rotations.
Perfectly said. I feel like the execution is going to be the key of the game, and also the macro play, right? The Bruno and the Brody are both early game marksmen, so they're going to deal a lot of damage as long as the roams are in the position and set. The Lilia versus the Farsa, I do think the Lilia actually dominates this match compared to the Farsa, because the Lilia can always black shoes out of the feather airstrike, but the Farsa is going to have a great amount of wave clear along with the Edith, right? Compared to the Minnow, which provides a little bit more utility and stun. So definitely I feel like Apex is going to have the advantage rotating around. And you know, if we're talking about Apex's early game rotation, this is a team that likes to start on the gold lane in the jungle and rotate into the XP position, while 3-man is defending against 4 onto the top side. So definitely Shadow 9, they have to look to play a little bit more aggressive when they're rotating as 4, especially in the very first round of jungle rotation around that 2-minute timer, and be a little bit more defensive on the XP, because Apex, if I am correct, they're going to start onto that gold lane, going back into the XP position for early gank. Now the Martis gets picked up. It's been banned out every single game, and I'm cooking. I feel like this is definitely something that's in their sleeves, because they wouldn't ban out every single game just for Martis to be up on this very third match.
Absolutely. Definitely some interesting picks. I wasn't expecting the Martis, but it does have the potential to do well. But I think when you lock in the Martis, you really need to bank on your early game snowball potential, because from experience, and we've seen this time and time again, he really falls apart in the late game, right? So they're gonna have to use this Lilia to their advantage and try to get their
Your
early
team
game
is picking.
secured. Now, before I pass it off to you, Yue, I said I wanted to see this. I really wanted to see it, the Arlot as well as the Edith pick. They granted my wish, so I'm really happy for that. I think Apex Predator right now, their draft is a monster. They have so much dive potential. The Minnow, yes, he does have that crowd control, but for him to be able to stop all of the forces that's going to be coming in from Apex is going to be a very, very hard time. And looking at the draft coming in,
What? Yeah.
Okay.
I felt like, there's definitely better options, something like a Cho that provides a lot more CC, but, maybe the Badang is going to be the saving grace for the side of Shadow 9. Both teams are locked in their draft. Once again, this is going to be the Season 7 of MLDT Best of 5 series. Apex with a 2-0 advantage, so we're looking to see how Shadow 9 comes back into the match. I feel like I would have to vote for the side of Apex. I feel like it's much more well-rounded with the Arlot and the Edith, just like what you were saying earlier. And I also feel like, the Farsa and also the Export provides so much utility and so much damage onto the backside, while on the other hand, the side of Shadow 9, a lot of their stuff is very stationary, right? The Clint can't move too much. The Minnow can't move too much. The Lilia has the black shoes and the flicker. The Badang has a dash, but, outside of that, it's just, I don't know if Shadow 9 has it in the bag here to come back in this very third game.
Yeah. Typically, I don't think I've ever seen a Badang go utility route, but from what I've seen, usually when you pick a damage EXP up against one that's known for going more sustain, you usually lose out in that lane because they get best of both worlds, right? We do know they're capable of dishing out a lot of damage, and then they're building utility on top of that. It's just going to be an uphill battle for you. So I'm really hoping that a Maestro can surprise us and potentially make us recommend picking a Badang into our lot, right? So hopefully that's something on the board. Maybe it's just wishful thinking, but speaking of thinking, a lot of smart rotations coming in here already, Ewan.
Yeah, already some damage being dealt onto only one's left. He's definitely going to be able to force the back. But what's quite interesting this time around is that both teams are looking to rotate onto the XP position, right? Apex has already been that team that always likes to rotate early onto the XP. And this time around, Shadow 9's looking to kind of clone the macro plays coming out from Apex. So it's quite an interesting rotation coming out. They're definitely both going to be able to meet onto this top side, and meeting indeed they will. I'm cooking onto that level 4, trying to get some damage, but the last Insanity gets popped up. So I do think Carl's going to look to potentially try to grab up this gold and look to go back to the base.
Yeah, he's not going to be able to get it. So a good steal there on both sides, actually being able to secure the gold crab in the top lane as well as on the bot side. And really good bait out. As long as they can continue to apply that pressure and kind of force Carl to use the last insanity before some of these neutral objectives, it's gonna put them in a good position. And that's kind of where the export pick can fall a little short. We are seeing some blows being exchanged up in the top side, and that's good. You want your EXP winner to chunk down the enemy EXP before this neutral objective so you can have that number advantage. But speaking of numbers, we're already seeing Shadow 9 making their presence around the turtle.
Yeah, but look at that speed rotation coming out from the boss side. Farsa looking to try to get some damage. Delta Feather airstrike coming through, but the ultimate coming out from Brody is just not going to be enough. Apex has already spent some of their utilities onto the boss side, so they're not going to have the numbers advantage. And Shadow 9 looking to see if they can grab up this neutral objective. The retribution coming out, and it belongs to Shadow 9. The flicker also coming out. So the Badang doing quite amount of good work onto the top side. The flicker, Minoan Fury gets the knock up onto that onto Tonka onto the top side, but I'm cooking going in, gets chunked out here. The export surviving with pretty much nothing there.
And that's courtesy one, the rotations, but he stayed under the tower a little too long, and that was because of a good stun coming in from Baby Legend there. So being quick on these rotations to find some responses where you can, just what they need. It's what's expected from the side of Apex Predator. But in the bot side, we are seeing them trying to put a lot of pressure onto this Brody, but unfortunately not going to be able to get anything just yet. And that's because like the early game, it's not that they don't have as much freedom, right, to be able to fully commit there. But on the top side,
yeah, I'm cooking, definitely trying to cook up a meal right here. Tonka is going to be the one that chunks getting low. And, you know, Martis is able to pick up that kill. And this is kind of what Martis is able to do. Chunk members, you know, if they're able to get that last hit off, he's going to be dealing a lot of damage with the ultimates. And, you know, this is a reason why Martis is being banned out. I think I'm cooking definitely is a very strong player that can play this hero. And, you know, I feel like Shadow 9, they have to just make sure that they can win onto this bot side, right? Do you see the camera being panned there? You know, the Clint, it does quite well in terms of the early game damage, but he has to have a small advantage. And it just feels like Finn, you know, with the Brody, he did so well in the last game. You can see him picking up that Blade of Heptases. The Purify gets popped out onto the mid. Some utilities going to be down for the next neutral objective, but Shadow 9 with almost a 2k gold lead looking to push this game a little bit further.
Yep, we are seeing Cooking looking to put this next turtle on the fire for himself. Here we're seeing this donate coming in, some stuns being dished out. Maestro though letting his presence be known. The lost insanity was popped out, not going to be able to secure the tower though. We are going to see the fist being popped out as well as the Minoan Fury. Flooded airstrike in response, but not going to be able to help them too much. And this is what we were talking about, the snowball of the Martis.
Yeah, the snowball is actually quite good inside of Shadow 9, but the game's not over. We've seen this story being told similar onto the last side of the flicker play coming out, and Farsa is going to be there acting as support. Unfortunately, she does not have enough damage to burst him out completely, but the Edith definitely does. Takes out the marksman onto the boss side. It's going to be a 1-for-1 trade. Marksman for both teams there. Feather airstrike coming through. Chunks Allen there trying to get the set, but there's not going to be enough damage for that cow. The meal is not going to be prepped yet. And you know, Rem, we were kind of doubting this Badang earlier, but it seems like he's still doing quite the work onto that top side. He's taking care of business, and I felt like the Badang lane, you know, it's actually quite good, and you could see almost like a 1k advantage onto the XP already.
Yeah, and that's courtesy on Cooking being able to rotate on the top side, right? Finding them quite low, but in the bot side, a good combo with the Feather airstrike as well as the knockup being popped in there. Finn being able to secure a kill of his own. That is 2 kills in favor of Apex Predator, 0 in favor of Shadow 9. But look at the rotation.
That's a 4-for-4 onto the rotation. Apex gathering onto this bot side, looking to siege onto this bottom lane. This is where I feel like Martis definitely should have came through and defended, because Apex, they're going to be able to grab this for free. Baby Legend flying through. Gets the feather airstrike, but not going to be enough on the mid side. Carl looking to get that, and the flicker knockup coming out from Naida, taking care of that business right there. Picks up another kill for Apex, and you can see the gold lead just being diminished by minutes here, and Apex pushing out with a almost getting to that lead position here.
Yeah, and that's the mistake I feel like Shadow9 made. But in the top side, Maestro gonna be able to find Tonka, who's having a little bit of a rough time in the early game, but they were able to secure the neutral objective off camera. But Shadow9 should have put a little bit more attention into the bot side, because by letting Finn secure that tower as a Brody, the part that he can play and contribute in a team fight is something that you cannot overlook, especially when you consider the feathered airstrike and then potentially the twin apart memories to finish off any escaping kills. Once a Brody can join a team for team fights, you not only have the presence of high magical burst potential because the mage is going to be present, but you also have that physical poke as well as that burst and cleanup potential because the Brody is also present. And it's kind of like the same thing if you were to have an Aritho, but a good pick off from the side of Shadow.
Yeah, this Badang is actually doing quite amount of work, but I'm cooking here. Caught a little bit in a dangerous position, and Shadow9 actually getting advantages across the whole entire map. They're able to get the kill onto the boss side, but it does seem like Alan is going to be the one that falls in trade for the side of Apex there, and they got the advantage onto the mid side. If they're going to be able to clear this, yes, they will. The reinforcements coming out from Shadow9, a little bit too much to handle there, and the fish crack coming out from this Badang is able to get that set onto the Brody, taking out another member on the board, putting Shadow9 back into an advantageous position.
Man, and you can't doubt his impact, right? We were a little bit concerned about how well Maestro there is going to be able to perform on that, but they aren't going to be able to bait out the feather airstrike to defend this mid lane. Maestro still being a menace though on this bot side. Looking at the top side, they are pushing a little bit, are also able to secure that first mid tower, but in the bot side, a little 1v1.
Yeah, we see the Badang kind of trying to do too much. The flicker play coming out, gets that immortality out of Carl's. Are they going to be getting that second life? The flicker, Minoan's Fury coming out, the double knockups coming through, but the counterplay coming out from that Farsa's chunk so low. I'm only the one left getting that Farsa kill, but he's definitely dying here. The flicker coming out into his own death. I disagree with that, but I'm cooking, definitely looking to grab up this lord right here. But three of the members from the side of Apex looking to come through. The flicker play coming out. You talked about the R-Lot. The R-Lot is doing so much damage here. He's unable to get the retribution off, and Apex turns the team fight, turns the gold lead, grabbing up this objective and pushing for the lead now.
Yeah, I feel like the moment that Shadow9 saw the presence rising from Apex Predator would have been a good time for you to reset the Lord, right? You noticed your team had the advantage, but they fell. You saw Apex Predator pushing up. You know, communicate a little bit to back off just a little bit, but Tonka might be taken off the board. A good conceal there is going to help him survive. Baby Legend is just, almost fell there. Is one shot. They definitely need to reset so they can actually capitalize off of this Lord that they got.
Yeah, and you know, in order to capitalize off this Lord, they definitely have to get a good sync coming in, and a good sync they definitely have it. But Shadow9, they still have a lot of gold in terms of their advantage, so they're still going to be able to defend a lot of these lanes. Bot side, you can already see members are collapsing onto that tower, making sure that they can get that siege. But I feel like the more important objective is going to be this mid lane, as they're able to just kind of let the Clint just clear this tower off. You know, Shadow9, they have to find a way to get the pickoffs. I feel like the Minoan Flicker set has been doing wonders for them. Get Mastoras onto the backside. You know, he's been doing quite well in terms of the bush camp. But Shadow9, they're doing much better than the first game, much better than the second game. I feel like this is definitely going to be the game that they're looking to close in on. But mid, he's getting chunked so low here.
Ooh, almost able to find I'm cooking, but a good response coming in from the side of Shadow 9 here. Again, make sure with this Badang really using it to provide a lot of utility as well as some of that damage that they were potentially missing here. And I wasn't too sure how I felt up. Oh,
Huge. Clint just
yeah.
melted that Farsa there, completely taking her off the board. I was actually, in doubt of the Clint myself. I was in doubt of the Clint and the Badong, but it's just it feels like Shadow 9, they're definitely pushing for a small advantage here. And they're doing quite well. The Clint has scaled beautifully and is doing so much damage so quickly. The range is so nice there. And now Apex is actually on the back foot here.
Yep, and one thing that I can already tell because of this is by Hamura, they're lacking in this Lily epic. She can kind of be the one, in addition to Alan, to kind of soak up some of the damage, right? You mentioned how well she can use the black shoes to kind of disengage from sticky situations. And meanwhile, only one left on the Clint can capitalize off of the utilities and the slows that she's providing to be able to land his skilled shots and actually dish out some of those damage. And I think that's why they opted to go in for the Clint rather than the Brody, right? He can kind of get that poke out from a little bit of a safer distance than the Brody can, as he does have to be relatively close. Carlo is getting zoned out. Baby Legend using the flooded airstrike. Don't know how I feel about it. Way too premature UA, but they're still going in for the contest.
Yeah, they're going for the contest. The Retribution coming out from the side of Shadow 9. They're able to grab that. The Minnow is going to be the first one that falls, but the trade coming out. Tonka is going to be that's traded on the board, and the next in line is going to be that Edith. The flicker plays are all coming out. The fish crack coming through from the Badang, pushing onto that boss side, grabbing Finn in that team fight. A 3-for-1 trade, and Rem. It does look like Shadow 9 is finally coming out on top in some of these late game fights.
Yeah, the Baby Legend on the far side, I'm not really agreeing with some of the flooded airstrikes that we are seeing being placed, as well as the positioning, right? You need to use your range to your advantage, especially when you're going up against a Clint. You really need to wait for him to show himself and let him bait out some of his skills and utilities before you pop down the flooded airstrike. Or if you are going to use it to zone out, make sure your team is actually there, ready to respond and make something happen. But speaking of making things happen, Shadow 9 found a tower in the mid lane, syncing up the waves, putting a lot of pressure on the top side, but the Lord
is marching down. They try to go for a play onto Tonka there, but unfortunately he was unable to get anything with the final slash here. So Apex still looking to defend, but this is kind of the same position that Shadow 9 had in the last game, right? They just ended up getting wombo comboed by the Trizla and the Minotaur, but this time around they don't have that flicker set coming out, maybe from the Edith, but it's still going to be hard. The Clint is dealing so much damage right now. The last Insanity does get popped out, and also the Retribution, so he's going to be speeding out there. But Apex, their whole entire base is now left open when they have no insurance. Tonka Chunk so low here. The final flash coming through with the Minone speed. It gets a 2-man knockout, and Shadow 9 takes out Tonka right there. Trading 0 for 1-1. And then they score their team, and they're just going to take this game soon here.
Strike that pop down for a little bit of the one thing, was able to force out the flicker from only one left on the Clint, which is you can take something, right? So I think Apex Predator right now considers that as a win for themselves. What they really have to look out for, though, not only does Alan still have his flicker, I like that he didn't use it in that last engage. He kind of just used the Manurian Fury as it was there, and now he's gonna actually wait for his matters. But off camera, both mages are actually gonna fall, and I think that's a pretty even trade on both sides right now.
Yeah, it's a good trade coming in from both sides. I do feel like it's probably a little bit better for the side of Apex, but a team fight breaking out onto the mid. The Minnow is going to be one that falls here. Carl looking to see if he could grab up another target here, but only one's left, dealing so much damage. He doesn't have the flicker available. I know he wants to pull the trigger. 7 2-3 is going to be his kills. And, you know, that's going to be the priority target that Apex has to figure out if they can get onto it. And I feel like it has to land all into that Edith. If he's able to get the flicker play off, he can definitely look to push onto that team fight. But without grabbing this Clint, you know, Apex is having a very, very hard time. They even have 2 of the members pushing onto this bot side. So Shadow9, I think it's now is going to be the time that they're going to try and push for this objective. They don't even see the Badong, but the Badong is unable to grab anyone from the backside. Potential flicker play coming out, and he gets the set onto Baby Legend. Shadow9 pushing with the lead.
Yeah, this is going to be a Lord potentially in favor of Shadow9. They just lost out a huge part of their zoning potential, which is going to send them on the back end a little bit. Cargo, he is still looking for a potential contest. The last Insanity did get popped in. The Retribution was used, but that's going to be Mega Kill into the hands of Shadow9. We are seeing Arla though trying to stall them for time, but time is of the essence, and they don't have it right now. Pure UA.
Yeah, it's a 3-for-0 trade for the side of Shadow9. They have that advantage here, looking to push onto the base. They have 5 of the members here, and I think they're going to be able to take care of this game unless they get a set onto that Bruno, but it's just going to be a little bit hard. Olgon looking to see if he can defend this base, but the base is chunked so low here. The Minimum Spirit gets a knockup on the Farsa, and Shadow9 able to come back onto this victory at the best of 5 game run.
Victory!
Absolutely, really good response coming in from the side of Shadow9, and they actually proved us wrong, especially when you consider something unconventional like the Badang that was slotted in. It was played quite well into the hands of Maestro, being able to find these pickoffs, find the backline, find Baby Legend on this farce, and kind of just continuously flank while the rest of Apex Predator was looking to make something else happen. So really good game being played from the side of Apex Predator. Shadow9 next time around, I want to see them be a little bit more objective focused, right? They were able to get Finn out of the lane, but they weren't able to really make anything happen out of that. So in the early game, Tonka had a hard time with this match, and I think that's kind of what stared them on the back end, because usually Tonka is one of the main initiators and engagers and turning factors in these team fights. So I think Shadow9 actually was able to capitalize off of that and shut him down in the early game. So for Apex Predator, try to manage both your side lanes so you can actually get your early game advantage that you're known for. So hopefully they clean up those edges in the next match.
Yeah, so 21-14 is going to be the overall scoreboard. 18-minute match. We go through a little bit of statistics real quick, but I think Rem hit all the good points, right? Shadow9, it just feels like they dominated both the side lanes. The winning matchup was actually quite good. You know, the Badong also with the Clint, you know, I doubted them, so I definitely feel sorry for that, but they definitely cleared this game well. But guys, we're going a quick break, maybe like 5 minutes. We'll see you guys in a little bit.
Spirit of the brush! I summon thee!
I am the #1 seed, the champion of the arena. The fans adore me because I've never lost. Yet you are afraid. Afraid that you will lose everything. Do you ever get scared of losing, Kimmy?
Well, big bro, I think we should cherish the joy and excitement of each game. Not who won or lost.
That's right. I'll strive for victory, but I won't lose myself in its pursuit. World Championship. I'm back.
I'm bored
Your
with
team
talent.
is banning.
到的了，应该是大便。怎么样？刷就说吧，
刷不掉，
怎么的？连起来了。
这已经连了好几年了吧？
It's time to go to the RD show.
Your team is banning.
Pain is the proof
Your
that I'm
team
still
is
started?
banning.
alive.
All right, guys, welcome back to the match 4 of this Best of 5 series, MLDT Season 7 Grand Finals between Apex Predator and Shadow 9. Once again, on the desk, we do have Master Rem here. A beautiful game coming out from Shadow 9, able to get
Your
the
team
last
is banning.
victory here. Rem, what do you have to say with Shadow 9's, great victory there?
Always on the way.
Your
Definitely
team
well
is banning.
played. Being able to secure and win both their side laners, the EXP, which was an unconventional pick, something that's not in the meta at all, something that's
Gaze
unknown
upon the
to
end
us,
Your
but being
team
able to
is
pull it off
picking.
with the comfortability of the pick, very, very solid, being played in there from Maestro on the Badarang. But Apex Predator right now banning out 2 of these mages, right? We're gonna see the Valentina, as well as the Lilia being taken off of the board, and that's some good respect picks, right? We've seen how beneficial the Lilia was when played on both teams, so they really want to be able to have some counterplay for that mid lane. And something that I would consider picking up is the Faramis if I'm the side of Shadow 9. There's no Valentina, there's also no Lilia, and those are 2 of his biggest uphill battle in terms of that mid lane. So I would secure it despite some of the supports being open here.
Okay,
Your team is picking.
that is not what I expect. I feel like Shadow 9 they should have went for the Clint or even the Badang. I feel like even blind picking it, they showed such a strong performance in the last game, but blind picking a Kufra is not going to be it for me. You're susceptible to something like a Diggy, but no, Apex chooses to go for the 0% Minotaur
Wait, no, I think Minotaur won one game, but hey, that last game, it definitely did not work. Maybe they got something up their sleeves in terms of going against the Kufra, some other picks that they could potentially pick up. The Brody being banned out, maybe the Bruno, maybe taking away the Clint from the side of Shadow 9.
The falling
Yeah,
stars brought us
absolutely.
here.
And I
Picking.
still, going for the Kufra first pick, it just has to, it's like picking a Fanny first, right? You have to be so comfortable on that hero to be able to not care about any counters whatsoever. But in terms of the responses, though, coming in from the side of Apex Predator, lagging in this Novaria very early on, she does have that range potential. In that mid lane, she can kind of
Your
poke
team is
damage.
picking.
But again, I feel like that's potentially where um Apex Predator might fall a little short. The Kadita hover kind of tripped me up a little bit because I'm like, okay, what is happening here? Right now, is the Minotaur being flexed? Is the Novaria being flexed? Is the Kadita being flexed? Like, so many things are being flexed here for the side of Apex Predator.
Yeah, and it's quite interesting that the Angela gets picked up so early on this match because they're not going to have that much magic damage coming through. So maybe they have to slot in a magic gold lane or even potentially something like a magic jungler. I feel like that's something that's going to be potentially warranted here. But going into the second ban phase, Tonka picking up this Yuzong does quite well against most of these heroes. But both teams draft. I feel like Apex has a little bit more well-rounded. They still have the magic damage available coming out from the Novaria. Versus on the other hand, it's like Kufra doesn't deal damage and Angela doesn't deal that much damage. So they're still missing out on a lot of damage. But maybe Shadow 9 they're gonna pick up that Granger once again.
It is a possibility, but like you mentioned, they are kind of missing out on some of that magic damage, right? Having the Angela alone, not really going to be able to provide as much. But if you think about it in retrospect, with the Novaria, right? Novaria doesn't really deal burst damage as well. She kind of has to like poke you down, force you to go back. And that's a little bit similar to the playstyle of Angela, right? Novaria has the range and the poke. Angela has the comfortability of being attached to an enemy, to a allied hero, and doing that poke damage as well over time and applying that pressure. So I do think the playstyles of these two heroes being slotted in the mid lane kind of mimic each other in terms of rotations. Both of them do have pretty fast rotations. Angela could just pop on top of you. Novaria, what is a wall? She doesn't know what that is. So I do think they are able to match up right now, but I want Shadow 9 to pick up a little bit more damage, as it is a little bit on the lower end of things right now.
Yeah, maybe something like an Aton would potentially be good here. Maybe even a Aton jungle or even like a Lunox jungle could have a lot of potential. But, on the side of Shadow 9 here, they're looking to pick up their last two heroes, definitely looking for a little bit more magic damage. That's what I would do personally. You could build Arlott little bit more physical, but it's just going to be hard uphill battle, especially if you're going for an Angela Kufra here on the mid side.
Yeah, absolutely right. They need to slot in something. I saw that Karina pick. I'm not too sure. I don't know how I feel about this. Okay, I would prefer the Karina over Lucian, if I'm being honest here, but I still don't think that's going to be enough magic damage going up against Apex Predator. And in addition to that, Apex Predator has a lot of skill-based damage dealers. So the immunity that the Karina does have is not really going to be able to provide her much survivability, but I guess that's going to be where Alan on the Kufra as well as Hamura on the Angela is going to come in, but it's going to boil down to who's going to be the prior target for the hard guard. Are you going to help on cooking be able to outlast some of these team fights, or are you going to use it to ensure that only one left is safe and sound? So definitely have to prioritize these targets.
Well, I actually like the Karina coming through. I feel like the Karina does a lot of magic damage, and it's going to help out with Shadow 9's draft here, especially paired up with the Angela. But still, once again, just like what you're saying, I feel like they're still lacking a little bit of damage, but I feel like it's a pretty unique opening situation. But guys, this is going to be the game 4 between Shadow 9 and Apex Predator. Rest of 5 series, but Apex already has 2 games on the board. Shadow 9 looking to come back in this victory. MLDT Season 7 here, and a great start coming in for both teams, looking to start onto that gold lane. Both junglers rotating onto the bot side too.
Yeah, absolutely right. I like the rotations that I am seeing coming in from both these teams. They're in the mid lane. We're seeing them trying to get this clear potential out in the bot side. EXP lane is kind of dishing out the damage to see who can really clear these lanes out faster here, which in turn is going to help them steer this early game into their advantage a little bit here. But I'm interested to see how the Angela is going to perform in this mid lane here. There is a lot of dive coming in from the side of Apex Predator, which I think can potentially overwhelm the Angela, but it's going to come down to the overall rotations from both these teams.
And it's interesting that, Apex already has a lead before the very first rotation. It definitely feels like Shadow 9 might be missing a few waves here and there, but maybe a small skirmish onto the bot side. I feel like both teams are looking to play a little bit more defensively, trying to scale into that late game, especially with a pick like Arithel and Beatrix.
Yeah, absolutely right. We are already seeing the side of Apex Predator make their way to the top side. That is a 4-man. Alan is back though, looking for the revenge. They're not going to go in for the commitment, getting some poke damage onto Apex Predator, but nothing's going to happen in the top side. Marta's cleaning up that jungle. Karina as well is going to go prio her blue buff. And I know that both these teams are going to be looking for this first neutral objective here.
Yeah, but it feels like, with the Novaria pick, they're definitely going to have a much faster clear onto the mid side, so they're going to have a better rotation in terms of this very first neutral objective. You can see both teams setting up. The Yuzong is in a great position, so Tonka is definitely going to have a lot of impact with the Black Dragon. It's not actually being popped, but the Retribution coming out with the steal and the Heart Guard.
Yep, the Black Dragon though is looking for some zoning potential, but unfortunately for him, there is nothing for him to zone out as the turtle was stolen drive-by style from I'm Cooking on this Karina. And this is also already a good start for the side of Shadow 9 here.
Yeah, and Shadow 9 with a good start. They had the lead onto the last game, and they're able to take care of it again on this game. We still don't know, who's going to be winning this match, but definitely Shadow 9 with a much better opening compared to their game 1 and game 2. That's exactly what they need, right? They need to make sure that they keep this gold lead, maintain it, and not have a throw like they did on the second game. But top side, Flicker Marone.
Yep, the Minoran Fury is able to find 2 people. A good time is runs into the tower. Uwajan is going to be taken down. That is first blood into the hands of only one left. The Astral Echo was used, but utility cannot really do much in that situation. You need some more damage, and unfortunately, in the early game, they don't have that just yet for the side of Apex.
Yeah, and for the side of Apex, they have this Arithel that's going to be scaling well into that late game. The Martis actually, can deal a lot of damage also, but it's just, it's just not going to be good enough, especially in the early game. You see Carl being a little bit annoying on this blue buff, but still, I'm Cooking is able to pick up that objective. Now, 1-0 is going to be the scoreboard. 4 minutes in a small lead for the side of Shadow 9. And, they're definitely prioritizing this gold lane quite well with the Arithel being up there. They want to make sure the Arithel can scale much better into the late game. But, neutral objective coming up so soon.
Yep, it's already being tabbled into by I'm Cooking here. Maestro on the Arlot, I did see the final slash going out, but it wasn't able to find anything. We are seeing the Black Dragon come Tonka there, finding some zoning potentially good. Revenge, finding a stun there. Minoan Fury finds the knockup. They also find a kill onto Allen. The team fight is still going in. The hard guard is on. I'm cooking, but he kind of used the reverse shadow into an uncomfortable position there. Martis is going to be able to find that kill, and that is a 2-for-0 trade in favor of Apex Predator.
Yeah, Apex brings the lead back with the next neutral objective. They got the 2 kills along with the turtle, so definitely turning favors right now. It's about like a 7, 10k, 1k gold lead for the side of Apex right here. The bouncing ball coming through, and you know, it definitely feels like the side of Shadow 9, they have to set up their team fights a little bit better. Try to get the Tyrant's Revenge onto something like the Navaria or even the Riddle can benefit them a lot because, you know, quite honestly, the Martis is going to be building a lot of the tank and has a lot of the CC immune. So Shadow 9, they just have to set a little bit better. Maybe try to get the hard guard onto the Karina and see if the Karina can grab up a few more kills before, you know, their team starts falling apart.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've been seeing Hamura there trying to do that. He was able to help him secure the first digital objective. He did ult him for the second team fight, but it's like I was saying, there's just too much dive potential that is coming in from the side of Apex, so it's kind of overwhelming the impact of the Angela, especially in the early game before she really scales up with those items. I'm pretty sure the effect is going to change once she's able to build in at least 3 of her core items. She already has the Flask of the Oasis. I think I saw her pick that up a while ago. So it's just gonna depend on when she gets the fleeting time. So she's actually gonna be able to get more than one ultimate off queuing some team fights here. But speaking of fights, what EXP laners doing what EXP laners do best as they trade some blows in the bot side. But in the mid lane, a rotation comes up, a Flicker Minoan Fury goes in. Martis is able to secure that kill though, make that a double kill as he is going to find Allen as well. The rotations coming in from the top side as they try to secure this mid lane tower. It is going to be defended though for the side of Shadow 9, but not for long. They were able to find it for Apex.
Yeah, Apex actually rotating quite well, getting the fight that they were looking for, grabbing up that double kill onto the mid lane along with the tower and this neutral objective. That's going to push the gold lead. About a 3k advantage for the side of Apex. And you know, they're up 2-1 in this best of 5 series. They only need one more game here. So Shadow 9, they actually have to try to figure out how they can deal with this, or else they're going to be out of this tournament. And you know, right now they're sieging onto the top side. I think it's a good idea, but Apex just defending a little bit too well right now.
Yep, absolutely right. And they were able to also secure that tower in the top side right now. So I do like that Apex Predator is kind of playing it slow. They're not really looking for any forced team fights. They're only looking for fights that they know they can potentially take here. They're trying to find some pickoffs as well. So I do, again, like what I'm seeing from the side of Apex. A lot of discipline, a lot of potential, but a double kill being picked up on the board for the side of Apex Predator there.
Yeah, Tonka was able to pick up a double kill here. The Yuzong actually having pretty much the most impact in the game right now, besides the Marthas 2-0 and 2. And when you see the XP laners kind of push ahead just like this, it's really beautiful, right? A lot of the times the XP, they can't really make the impact because the team fights are always onto that gold side, but Tonka definitely doing something different here.
Yep, and again, I mentioned before, right? The reason why they had a hard time in the previous game is because the EXP had a hard time. And when you look at the mid to late game rotations and things of that nature, your EXP lane plays a crucial part in how your team is able to navigate from the mid game to the late game, because they were able to win out in the early phases of the match. And we can see that being reflected here, right? Tonka, in the last game, there was a lot of pressure onto him. And when they were able to put him behind, that's when we saw Maestro come out on top. But now the tables has been turned. Yes, he hasn't died on the R-Lot just yet, but because of the rotations, the impact that he has this time around is completely different to what we saw happening in the last game. But UA, Apex Predator, a Lord uncontested.
Yeah, they secured the Lord. A two-man Minone Spirit coming out on the top side. Of course, they do get the knock up in the Rissel. Free hitting off the backside, but on the other side of the map, the March is able to take that Karina out for him getting taken out himself. That's going to be a trade onto both teams. So the Lord is marching onto the top side of the Rissel. Still in position for a fight, and the Petrify coming out from that Yuzong, grabbing that up with a flicker. Final slash coming through, ending that kill streak. An even trade, 2 for 2 coming in from both sides.
Yeah, but the re-engage coming in from Shadow 9 as we try to chunk down this Lord Astral Echo, putting some vision onto them so they can find the safest path to disengage from that team fight. But a really good response coming in from Shadow 9. The rotation coming in from Maestro there with the flicker final slash, sending Tonka right back into that tower and essentially getting the shutdown, taking him off the board once and for all. Definitely the good responses coming in from Shadow 9. And at this point, they have to continue to take this pathing, right? Find the mess-ups, capitalize on the over-aggression coming in from the side of Apex Predator.
Yeah, and I feel like they definitely have capitalized on some of it. They're able to negate this very first Lord coming in, and I think, as time goes on, it's just going to be better and better for the side of Shadow 9. They have the Beatrix, which scales quite well, and also the Angela Heart Guard, right? The mobility on that skill, he can pretty much just go around any single place on the map, turn situations from 1 versus 1 into an advantage for their own team, but they are still down in some kills, so they kind of definitely have to be careful here before, Apex kind of snowballs into another good team fight, and they definitely have that available.
Yep, we are seeing a little bit of damage being traded out into the mid lane. Not going to lead to anything crucial so far. Apex Predator using their team composition, and I like that they're rotating as one unit right now. They have a better engage tool. They have a better disengage tool. And speaking of engages here, we are seeing this R-Lot going in with these slashes. Again, though, nothing too major is going to happen. Both these teams kind of just trading on some damage, but Apex Predator definitely getting themselves in position to contest this Lord that is going to be spawning in. It's going to be the first enhanced Lord of the game, and I think before we get into that, it would be a good time to talk about some of the items that these teams are picking up so far.
Yeah, the Brute Force gets picked up by the Yuzong here. Rith already has both the Has Claws and the Berserker, so he's going to be firing off a lot of damage. And Martin chooses to build the Blade of Despair, but the Flicker coming on to the bot side of Minone is caught in a kind of a bad situation. The knockup coming through, but that's not going to be the targets that they're looking for. Apex traded a lot of spells, and I feel like now Shadow 9 has the advantage. They have to go for a pick at the conceal play.
Yep, the conceal play is popped in. Angela is looking for the hard guard. Down goes the Astral Echo, but the only thing falling down so far is going to be the Orito. That's going to be a lack of damage for the side of Apex Predator. Killing spree onto Maestro. Tonka zoning out with the Black Dragon is able to pick the jungler up. Carl, though, he is relatively low, still looking for the kill. We are seeing the puppet on his string, being able to find the immobilized, but Maestro has joined in yet again, and that's going to secure a killing spree into the hands of only one left, but actually it's only 2 left for the side of Apex Predator, but no one left to defend this Lord, and it is going to go into the hands of Shadow 9. Uncontested Astral Echo to provide some utility, but a utility without damage, utility without a plan is not going to be beneficial, and that's going to be Lord.
Yeah, and we were kind of talking about earlier how we felt like Shadow 9's comp didn't have enough damage, but you could kind of see the utility and the sustains coming out. They're quite tanky, and in these long, drawn-out team fights, the Heart Guard is just going to be better and better. Now, take a look at some of the items right there. The Flask of Oasis, the Fleeting Time, along with the Ice Queen one has been built up by the Ansa, so he's still going to be dealing a lot of damage. The Karina ended up opting to go for some penetration, right? The Magic Shoes along with the Genius Wand, it's going to provide a lot of damage. So even though Shadow 9, it feels like with the Angela and Kufra at mid side, it's not going to deal that much damage. The Karina last pick was actually, it made their comp so beautiful, and it kind of just formed everything together here for them.
Yeah, absolutely right. But on the top side, we are seeing them being able to find that tower, but they were also able to find a kill there for the side of Shadow 9. They're still pushing in, make that a double kill. The hard guard has been landed in, as well as that triple kill. Make that a maniac, as well as the tower. Only one person left. Would it be a savage? And yes, the side of Shadow 9 is able to take that savage and destroying the base crystal swiftly after here, UA. And is that the first savage in the MLDT season 7 so far?
I mean, that's definitely the first savage that I've seen on my screen. Shadow 9 able to take this game forward. 2-2 is going to be the scoreboard. And you know, Shadow 9 definitely did quite well here. The Beatrix dealing out so much damage, doing quite well for them, their team. With 0 deaths on the board, and also the Arlots doing quite well, 3-0 and 4. You know, that is actually quite nice right there. And you know, just looking at this end game screen, the Karina wasn't the one that was dealing so much damage. It was just everyone else. You know, the whole entire team of Shadow 9 just doing quite well. But Rem, can you go over some of the statistics for us?
Gladly will go over some of the statistics that happened in this game. And I want to focus a little bit on the damage that has been dealt. If we can potentially get that swapped back here. Only one left, being able to deal 33% damage. Definitely saw his impact as the game scaled from that mid to late game as well. Also pushing the towers to provide some rotation potential with the 68% tower damage. But overall, team fight participation from the side of Shadow 9 definitely strong on the higher sides. We're seeing 75% as well as the 85%. And for the side of Apex Predator, unfortunately, they lacked some of that damage, right? They weren't able to have enough burst and enough scaling for this game. We do know the Martis is a pick that needs that early game snowball potential, and unfortunately, this time around, he was not able to make that happen. But you guys, we are going to head into a short break now as we set up for the next match.
Spirit of the brush! I summon thee!
I am the #1 seed, the champion of the arena. The fans adore me because I've never lost. You are afraid that you will lose everything. Ever get scared of losing, Kimmy?
Well, big girl, I think we should cherish the joy and excitement of each game. Not who won or lost.
That's right. I'll strive for victory, but I won't lose myself in its pursuit. World Championship. I'm back.
In this age of technology, martial arts has evolved too. I won't rest until I crush the Trinity Syndicate!
Your team is banning.
Okay.
I'm born
Your
with
team
talent.
is banning.
Welcome back, everyone, to the MLDT Season 7. This is a best of 5 series. Game 5 between Apex Predator and Shadow 9. We saw an exciting match coming out from Shadow 9. They're able to take the last 2 games, putting the series score to a 2-2. So it's do or die for Shadow 9. Same thing with the side of Apex. And now on the casting decks, we do have Master Rem coming out from all the way to MLSA. What's up, Rem?
Your team
I'm
is
doing
banning.
great, you know, being able to see the series get to that final match where it's match point for both teams is usually what casters love to see, right? Seeing 2 teams of even calibers and skill levels go up
Always
against
on the
each other
way.
and be able
Your team
to
is
really
banning.
make the outcome of the game be unpredictable. Definitely what we enjoy watching as an MLBB community. But speaking of things to look at, I want to direct everyone's attention to some of the bans that we're seeing right now. The Valentina being banned out, as well as the Angela for the side of Apex Predator. Very solid bans. We saw the Angela being let in the previous game, and we saw how that worked out, right? Not really being able to find any pickoffs because boom, there's a hard guard healing consistently, as well as providing that shield, as well as the utility. But on the flip side, for the side of Shadow 9, they are going to ban out the Guinevere as well as the Mathilda. So they're keeping the utilities
Time
in
to drop
check
the beat of
for
the
this
team
is
final
banning.
game so far. But when you do this, you kind of leave some strong picks open on the board.
Yeah, and I feel like some of the picks are going to be like the Lilia, the
Gaze
Brody, which has
upon
been
the
doing
Your
so
team is
well in
picking.
this tournament. Also, you know, even like something like the Terizla, the Xborg, the Yu Zhang. But, you know, what's interesting is that both these teams, they aren't really picking a lot of these meta junglers, right? The Fredrin has not come out to play. The Boxia also is not. So, you know, maybe both of these teams are going to be looking to go into this. The Joy gets taken off the board along with the Nolan. So Lilia and Brody both being available for both of these teams to pick up here.
Who do you think is going to be like a more influential first pick? I feel like the Brody does have that securance in the late game, but I feel like it's an early game meta, right? And I feel like that's kind of where the Lilia. Oh,
Your
they're
team
actually
is
going to
picking.
ignore both the Brody and the Lillian lock in this Grok. And if I'm the side of Shadow Knight right now, they could secure both those picks in their first two priority picks there. I think both the Brody is good into something like the Grog, the Lily as well is good into the Grog. She can use her glooms in the bush to provide some vision as well. So there is options for them, but I don't think they really care about that right now. They are hovering over the Edith, but the Lilia is being hovered over as well. The Nana, I'm pretty sure that's trolling. They are going to lock in that Lilia, 100% sure about that. And I think it's a pretty solid first pick for them. Maestro, though, hovering over the Edith, that potential that she has
Your team is picking.
is undenied. So I do like their response coming in from the side of Shadow 9.
Yeah, I'm not really sure about the Edith pick myself, though. Going up against the Grok, the Grok comes out with a lot of CC immune ability. So, with the Edith coming out, it's kind of like he just got countered by himself. But I like the Lilia, right? We've seen the Lilia do quite well in a lot of these matches already. So definitely a strong pick. I would definitely pick up the Brody if I was side of Apex right now. As they pick that up,
The falling
it's going to be a
stars
very,
brought us
very
here.
Team
strong
is
opening
picking.
for the side of Apex. The Brody and the Grok clears the lanes really well and bullies a lot. The Grok can provide a lot of vision, go for some of the retributions early on to making sure that the jungle clear speed from Shadow 9 is going to be slowed down. And the Navaria, right? We've seen this pick being played throughout this tournament and MPLI. It's such a strong pick, providing a lot of utilities and honestly one of the fastest wave clears in the game.
I would rather betray
Absolutely,
team
and I
is
do
banning.
Let the
think having
world
the
betray me.
Novaria as well as the Grok also contribute to some of that wave clear potential for Apex Predator as well. Fendel locking in the Brody. So I think this is the battle of
I will
both worlds
choose my
here, right? We're
Your
gonna see
team
which
is
one
banning.
is going to be able to help steer their team to victory. Is it going to be the Brody or is it going to be the Lilia in the mid lane? I do fear for the Novaria though, because I do think while she does provide a lot
Your
of
team is
utility
banning.
potential, you kind of fall short on some of that
Your
instant
team is
burst
banning.
damage per second that mages like the Lilia can offer consistently throughout the team fights, whereas Baby Legend on the Novaria just has to use, that first skill to poke out. Then you have the Astral Echo, which you really need your team to be able to make something happen. You can't independently do anything really game changing in these team fights besides a follow up coming in from your team once the Astral Echo has been landed on at least you could say 2 to 5 members at that point.
And I feel like the bans that are coming out from both teams are actually quite well, right? They pick up the Yuzong from the side of Shadow 9, and they choose to ban out the Arlot and also the Teresa, which is both, two of the strongest meta picks onto that
Your
XP
team is
position.
picking.
On the other hand, Apex opting to ban out both the Bruno and the 1-1. The 1-1, the Brody definitely struggled with a little bit early on in that game 3. So definitely banning that out is going to be a good option. But what is still available on the board is going to be the Rithel. But no, they're hovering over the Beatrix and the Melissa. I think both are great options. Maybe the Beatrix can do quite well. But I think the Rithel, if you pair it up with like a Purify, he's definitely going to be unstoppable because the Grok, unfortunately does not have a pin to kind of just hold that marksman down.
Yeah, I do think the Purify would be a pretty solid pick onto the
Your
Abyssal,
team
but they're
is
not going to go
picking.
ahead and lock in that. I like the Melissa pick only because there is a lot of poke potential coming in from the side of Shadow 9 right now. When you pair up the Glooms from the Lilia with the Muddles from the Melissa, there's a lot of potential for you to zone out the enemy team while you're still dealing damage. So they just put their team fight potential and the damage that they're able to dish out during these team fights at a higher level, right? When you look at the AoE damage coming in from the side of Shadow 9 versus the single target damage essentially that's going to be coming in from the side of Apex, that's where they're going to lose
Your
out.
team
So
is
Apex
picking.
has to look for pickoffs. And now that they've completed their entire team composition, definitely need to go for team fights. I mean, pickoffs, sorry. They don't have the composition for these drawn out um, team fights. So if they don't find a pickoff, we're going to have to see them be very, very quick on the disengage if you're the side of Apex Predator.
Well, here's an interesting thing, right? The Melissa can use that go away to kind of block out a lot of the mobilities coming out from Apex. But the last two picks coming out, right? The Julian has an invulnerability going in with the dash and deals a lot of damage. And also the Lapu Lapu with the Bravest Spider stance can just kind of run through that Melissa. So it's definitely going to be a hard matchup coming out from Shadow 9. The last pick gets picked on the board. It is a Bane coming in. I'm not sure if I agree with this, but I'll say this though. If anyone can go with any of the unorthodox picks, it's definitely going to be on the side of Shadow 9.
Absolutely, and the Badang definitely helped prove that point. But you guys, we are heading into the final game of this best of 5 series. Shadow 9 being able to reclaim their momentum from game 2, securing game 3, evening out this match. It is 2-2 right now. The winner of this match is going to be able to take it all and kick the other team out of the tournament, you guys. So are we going to see a reverse sweep for the side of Shadow 9, or is Apex Predator going to reclaim their momentum, fight back, and take the victory back into their hands? Only time will tell as we're jumping into the game.
Now, a very traditional start coming out from Apex. They're looking to start onto the gold side, rotating onto the bot where the XP lane is. And, you know, Shadow 9 this time around choosing the opposite direction. The last two games, they decided the fight strategy of Apex, rotating from the gold lane into that XP in the very first rotation. But this time around, they're choosing the opposite. They're trying to make sure that they get that 4-man set onto the top side early on, especially after they take the 2 blue buffs. Now, take a look at some of the emblems right here. I feel like everyone is kind of going for something relatively standard, but something that we don't see often is going to be the Bane. And, you know, he's deciding to run the Quantum Charge this time around. So he's going to be one speedy octopus here.
Absolutely, and the game is all about rotations, right? But speaking of rotations, we're already seeing the presence of Shadow 9 in the top lane, looking for some pressure. A good knock up there is going to be able to force out the flicker from Ujen there, but at the bot side, we are seeing some damage being poked out. Not much is going to happen though, but that is going to be first blood into the hands of Apex Predator, taking Maestro off the board nice and early.
Yeah, that's going to be a good opening from the side of Apex. You know, it's kind of exactly what they need to kind of bounce back into the momentum. But, you know, the side of Apex, they're down 2 games now. You know, almost a reverse sweep coming out. So they kind of have to, like, gather their own minds and try to calm down a little bit, play a little bit more passive, or making sure that they can make impacts they need and get those pickoffs that they're looking for. 2 minutes in Apex with a slight small lead, and you know the neutral objectives are being set up by both teams.
Yep, we are seeing them setting up for this neutral objective there by the turtle, but in the top side though we are seeing some damages being traded out. But you mentioned the power of this Lapu Lapu in these team fights. The go away was popped, but the torn apart memories was not able to finish the job. But speaking of jobs not being finished, being picked up there, and honestly a really good response coming in for the side of Apex Predator.
Yeah, a really good response coming out from the Apex side. It's almost like it's like a black and white show, right? We've seen this, you know, coming over and over again. And, you know, the side of Apex, they're still getting the advantages, but some of the kills are being traded back into the other side. you know, 3-2. Both teams are quite even, but Apex just a little bit ahead up on some of these kills. And you know, with the Grok coming in on the mid side, it's definitely going to provide a lot of pressure, a lot of damage early on. So definitely need to watch out for some of the wild charges coming through. But the set potential coming out from Shadow 9's also quite well. You could flicker on using that Edith, and you know, making sure that they can get the sets that they're looking for to secure this game victory.
Absolutely right. We're seeing a lot of poke coming in from Apex Predator, courtesy of the Novaria pick there, being able to have the Astral Echo at her disposal to kind of help make it easier for them to get some of these rotations going for these out of Apex Predator. If you look at the competition, they definitely need early game a good combo with the enhanced change as well as the wild charge, being able to find Lilia in the mid lane as they are trying to poke out some damage, but quickly rotating back up top. And the bot side, though, Tonka being able to take the Black Dragon down in his tracks while he tries to escape. But both teams still looking for the aggression here. The neutral objective is being poked out. We're seeing some good zonings happening there, but unfortunately is still going to have the tournament secured for Apex Predator.
Yeah, Apex coming in with a 3K gold lead. 5-2 is going to be the scoreboard. They're able to grab up that neutral objective on the top side. They're looking to grab up a little bit of a siege right here. Currently, I can't really see what's happening, but the flicker knockup coming out. The Grok able to take care of that Edith right there. They're looking to siege onto this top side, and the gold plate already falling short. Ooh. And you can see that Julian killing another member there. Apex definitely taking this, you know, game really, really seriously. They definitely feel like they have that fire still in them.
Absolutely. They have an early game competition, so they need to snowball as much as possible. But if that doesn't happen, they still do have some late game reassurance with the Brody as well as the Novaria. But in the bot side, Tonka is having his way in this match as he was able to take Maestro up in this bot side. He was also able to secure that tower as well. We can see that he is rotating, trying to find his way to the mid side to manage those two ways. But again, the pressure from Apex Predator in the top lane.
Yeah, on the top side right there, they're looking to siege on to that tower. Apex should be able to get that advantage there, but ooh, a great solo kill on the XP side. Tonka able to take care of business with a brave fighter stance against that Yuzong. On the other side of the map, Apex, they're getting advantages on both ends, right? They got that top tower and they're able to get the solo kill on the bot. So they're definitely in a much better position compared to some of the previous games before. And I feel like, you know, typically when it comes down to this, two-man knockup coming through with the 1-2 combo from the Edith, they're able to potentially get this tower, but, you know, both teams, the Edith does end up falling here, but they're going to be able to defend this tower no problem.
Yeah, we did see the Deadly Gouge coming in to help them with the defense. And man, Apex Predator is finding these angles across the map, and it's because they don't really have to really babysit the EXP anymore. And again, I mentioned this in the previous game. Once Tonka is able to find his groove in the game, it's kind of hard to turn his music box off, right? Because he's one step and two step in all over the map right now. And if we look at some of these items that has been picked up so far, we can see because of the gold lead for Apex Predator, they're in a much safer place here.
Yeah, and a 5K goal lead for the side of Apex is actually quite a big goal lead. It's been a while since we saw Apex actually dominating on top in these goals, and they're able to take care of this neutral objective along with the towers that they've already pushed. They're in a very, very solid position. You kind of talked about, right? If Tonka is able to get that snowball going, he's definitely going to be in a much better position. And in this game, it definitely feels like they had a charge coming out onto this mid side, trying to get that, and then Novaria sniper coming through, able to pick up Bane in a 1-for-0 trade for Apex.
Absolutely, a good conceal wild charge flank being able to pop up there. A good Earth Shatter finds Julian. That's going to be a kill into the hands of Shadow 9. We are seeing Maestro with the Black Dragon looking for some additional zoning potential coming out, but In response, the Astral Echo does go down and is actually going to force Shadow 9 on the defensive side of things this time around. And Apex Predator is making really good use of their draft composition right now. They have a lot of engagement. We're seeing them not being afraid to find pickoffs where they get the opportunity. And we're also seeing them respond to some of those kills with objectives on the map as well, which is equally as important. And I like when teams are able to navigate these two things and find them in unison, because those are what actually wins you games.
Yeah, well, here's the thing, right? Apex, they picked the Grok first, and then Shadow 9 decides to go for the Edith. And I told you, like, the Edith is not going to be that good against someone that can CC a mean. Something like the Martis, you just can't get those sets off. And, you know, with the Grok going against the Edith, of course the Grok is going to be going well, but the go away gets popped onto the mid side of the breeze. Spider Stance also coming through. Members are low, but both teams are going to be looking to disengage. And take a look at the Bane statistics, right? It's 0, 3, and 1. He's not having the impactful game as I feel like he definitely should. I know Shadow 9 is one of those teams that like to go with these unorthodox picks, but in this game, it just doesn't feel like it's working out. As you know, you can see a 5K goal lead, 9 minutes and 11 to 4 is going to be the scoreboard, and I think Apex is going to secure this neutral objective uncontested.
Yeah, we're seeing some good zoning coming out from the Grok there as he's trying to keep the side of Shadow Knight off. We're also seeing the vision control coming in from Baby Legend on the Novaria coming out as well. Tonka did go in with the Bravest Spider Stance, though Deadly Catch in response, a tree-man knockup with the enhanced chains. Lilia going for the glooms, is able to find him. That is going to be one person off of the board for the side of Apex Predator. Black Dragon, though, for some additional zoning is gonna go in as well, but not going to lead to too much. We are gonna see another deadly going in there from the Lapu Lapu. A good Earth Shatter, though, finding the knockup. We are seeing Melissa with the puddles looking for some damage, but that is going to be a kill into the hands of Brody, courtesy the Torn Apart Memories, and that is a good engage coming in from the side of Apex Predator.
It's a decent engage. I feel like a 2-for-1 trade. You know, Shadow 9's able to come out on that victory, just, you know, 1 kill less, so they definitely still have, you know, what it takes to win some of these team fights. But the Brody is also doing quite well. Just like you said, the Torn Apart Memory able to grab up that long range kill. And they have the Lord coming in. They have this Novaria with a huge range on the side of Apex. It grabbed up another tower on to the top side potentially. And, you know, now Apex, they're kind of just coming away with everything once again, right? This is kind of the snowball that we've seen in the game 1s and game 2s. And, you know, at this point, I feel like Shadow 9, they have to kind of focus down. If Edith can get the flicker set onto maybe the Julian or the Brody, that's going, or even the Novaria, they're going to win team fights. But if, you know, if the set is not going to come out from Edith, I feel like Shadow 9 is going to have a hard time trying to catch that long range mage.
Yeah, absolutely right. And when you look at it, they really don't have anyone that can really put a lot of pressure onto her. They kind of have to depend on the Yu Zhang as well, but we can see that he's not really being able to find his mark with some of the Black Dragons. And looking at the poke and map control coming in from the side of Apex Predator with the Novaria using the Astral Recall to be able to either poke you down or reveal your position on the match. Either one is a win-win for the side of Apex Predator, as it does continuously give them the advantage in some of these engages. And if you look at the drop coming in from Shadow 9, then they definitely need to find some of these surprise flags. But like I said, the Astral Echo, the map control, the vision control coming in from the side of Apex Predator is a little bit too much for the side of Shadow 9 to manage right now.
Well, I think maybe Shadow 9, they have to try to get onto the back line. And I feel like the only one, once again, is going to be the Flicker Edith or maybe even the Yuzong, right? With the Petrify and the Black Dragon, he could easily get onto the backside, you know, probably getting hold of the Novaria, potentially the Brody there. So I think that's going to, you know, Shadow9, they still have some of these tools to work with to get an advantage, but the Lord gets taken uncontested once again from the side of Apex, and Shadow9 now has to look to defend once again, but this time it's going to be a Luminous Lord, and I don't know if, you know, the side of Shadow9, they're going to have it in them, because the Bane, it's not doing too good right now. The Edith is also not doing too well. So, you know, they just don't have the gold lead. They don't have the advantage. They don't have the comp. You know, they could try to go for a pick, but man, they better pray that Apex is not going to be in a good position.
Yeah, absolutely right. The Lord was able to be secured uncontested, like you had mentioned. And Shadow9, they do have a relatively good clear potential with the Lilia. They also have the Melissa, like I mentioned. So they have a lot of AoE damage going in. The lanes are being synced up for the side of Apex Predator. They're looking to put some pressure onto the mid lane. The Astral Echo did pop in. That is going to be the tower. A good deadly cast, but a good 3-man knockup from the wild charge as well. The go away was popped in. We are going to see a killing spree going into the hands of Brody, though. That is going to be 2 members down for the side of Shadow9, which is going to make this defense a little bit harder for them. The Lord is already crashing into the base. We're seeing Apex Predator trying to look for the right angle there. Torn apart memories did connect, not finding any kills though, but Novaria, with the help of the Astral Echo, is going to be able to find that kill. We are going to see a good escape there coming in for the set of Apex Predator, but Shadow9 still somehow in the game a little bit longer.
Yeah, still holding on to a 0 for 3 trade. The Deadly Couch is going to be able to clear some waves out. They, you know, Apex, they were able to kill off a few of the members for Shadow9, but unfortunately their HP bar was just a little bit too low to try and push some of these towers. So definitely good kudos to Shadow9 to be able to defend this. Now they're looking for another pick, but the Julian's just a little bit too quick there. 10k gold lead for the side of Apex Predator, 15 minutes in, and as we get later on to the stage of the game, the gold lead is just going to be smaller, or it's going to be meaning, you know, less and less as we continue. And, you know, I feel like if Shadow9 continues with this, especially if the Bane and the Melissa ends up, you know, on top of the team fights, not dying, they're definitely going to be able to push and get a lot more real estate this time around.
Absolutely, a good Earth Shadow finding a Tonka, but not going to engage on that. He is quite tanky there. A good Astral Recall finding some really good damage onto this Lilia there, kind of setting her back a little bit. And it's what I was mentioning, right? Having this constant pressure every about 4 to 6 seconds can really turn a fight into your favor. But speaking of turning things into your favor here, we are seeing Apex Predator work on this Lord. They are trying to zone out the members of Shadow9. Lord did get reset though. A good 3-man stun onto the wall there. We are seeing Edith being able to pick up a kill. That is 2 members falling for the side of Apex Predator, 1 though falling for the side of Shadow9, but both these teams still looking for this Lord. It got reset once again, as Deku likes to say, the Wiggle Wall Entertainment has been popped in, but the Lord unfortunately was taken. I was not able to see which side was able to grab up the Lord though, but Shadow9 definitely on the disengage here. But like I mentioned, you guys, they still do have like a relatively good defense as well as an offense position. Shadow9 was actually able to secure that Lord right now. We're seeing them rotate as one group right now. If they can find Tonka, that's going to be a really good help for them in terms of this push potential. They're going to be able to secure this top, but in the mid lane UA, the Lord couldn't even secure the tower.
Yeah, still the Apex, they definitely have a lot of defense. right? And they have a lot of damage to be able to clear these lords, but the Brody is going to stop scaling eventually, and I feel like that's going to be a problem for the side of Apex. They still have to try and win these fights, and they're able to defend this mid quite well, but now that they're going to be down another do they get the mid tower here? If they're able to get the mid tower, I feel like that's going to be still pretty good for the side of Shadow. And
No, it's still up there.
Shadow. Oh no, it's definitely still up there. So, Shadow9, they kind of have to see if they can group up. Even with the objective, they only got a mirror top tower for that. The Black Dragon coming through, I feel like it's a little bit preemptive, but it's definitely going to be up before that next objective. And I still think Shadow9, even though they don't have the best advantage, they can still get away with this game.
Yeah, absolutely, right. They do have the resources to get it done in terms of the AoE damage that they have going for them. Like you mentioned, they need a really good set for this Lilia to be able to follow up on it. That's also going to include the Black Dragon from Maestro, right? So they need to kind of combo these skills together to make things kind of happen and go into their way. So definitely gonna take a lot of teamwork and coordination in these skills. And I think a big help would be if they can find a pickoff, right? They can look to find a flank or re-engage on Tonka while he's trying to clear out these lanes and proxy up some of the split, or look for Carl after he uses his full combo. We do know that when Julian is in a very vulnerable position. So after he goes in with his enhanced change, the 1-2-3 combo, regardless of however he uses it, he's still going to be vulnerable enough for a pickoff. And that's when Shadow9 can potentially look to make something happen there. We are seeing the Astral Echo though going down, the Astral Recall finding some poke damage onto only one left, but the Lord has been spawned in, you guys. We're officially in late game. The gold lead doesn't matter too much, but what matters is the items, and we can see Apex Predator starting to hit hard, but Shadow9 is also hitting hard as well. Both these teams setting up for the Lord. The Black Dragon has been called out though. Lord is getting reset, and again, I think it's a little bit too premature.
Yeah, I definitely agree there. I feel like the Black Dragon's definitely going to be a utility waste. So Apex is definitely going to have an advantage here, but Shadow9, they have to fight for this Lord. They're able to get that last Lord, kind of pushing the game back another 5 minutes, and they need to be able to do this again. The knockup coming through, stunning every single person. The Bravest Spider Stance coming on to that. The Lilia able to pick up the Grok, and the Novaria is going to be the one that picks up that Lord. So Apex, they have to look to disengage, and man, look at that. I'm cooking. He's definitely cooking up right now. 2, 3, and 3. He's not getting so much kills, but he's definitely, Apex, 2 of their members fell in that team fight with the Lord marching down. It's going to be a tough coming out from Apex.
Yeah, we are seeing the Lord marching down bot side, but in the top side, we're seeing some damage being put on as well. They're trying to put some pressure into the bot side to make their escape a little bit harder, but in the top side, we are going to see Carl being able to find Maestro on the Yuzong. Is going to be able to use the power of the Julian's mobility to escape, but Shadow9 having the defense potential is going to be able to burst that Lord down relatively close. Fast, but in the mid lane, we're seeing Apex Predator looking for the tower, which they found. The base for Shadow9 is completely open, though. The number advantage is on the board for Apex Predator as Lilia has fallen off of the board right now. So they're looking to clear out these waves and potentially look for the end fight. We're seeing the Novaria from Baby Legend sitting at 309, being able to put out a lot of poke damage with the Astral Recall. A good set there coming in from the Grok with the Wild Charge, as well as the Astral Echo combination coming in. They are able to take the MM down, but also UA, they didn't just take the MM down, they took the game, they took the series, and they took North America's Grand Finals.
Yeah, congratulations to Apex, a best of 5 series, and they're able to grab up this very last game. It was a tight rope of a Grand Finals run, and it was great casting with you, but Apex coming out on top in this game, able to secure their victory, and Baby is able to get this done with the MVP 4, 0, and 11, and also the Grok first pick also did quite well, but all the members of Apex has done so much work in this game, and even the Brody signature pick, right? We saw the Brody being played so many of these games, and he was able to go through with this win too. Now, Rem, break down some of the statistics and we can close off this series.
Absolutely and gladly to break these statistics down for you guys. Apex Predator overall being able to get a reverse sweep, finding this a game up against Shadow and 9 here. Kind of to take a look at what led them towards the victory here. If we look at their team fight participation, relatively high across the board. We have to commend the Roamer mid lane synergy from Baby Legend, as well as Wu Jen there on this Grok, being able to find combos. Tonka having an exceptional game consistently throughout the game, right? From the early game all the way down to the late game. Finn as well being able to deal that tower damage to open up the map, to get some of these rotations in smoother and be present for some of these team fights as well. So really good response coming in from Apex Predator, and good job to them being able to close it off while it matters the most, seriously.
Of course, and congratulations to Apex Predator, the winner of the North American Season 7 for MLDT. Thank you, everyone who has watched and participated in the chat. Make sure to hit the like and subscribe, and some shout outs from everyone. Bill, MLBB Discord Community Manager, Azza, the tournament lead for the MLBB Discord community, Nix, the events lead for the MLBB Discord community, and Noor, designer for the MLDT Season 7. Thank you guys again, the MLBB Discord staff. We have Ghost here in the production, and Spade doing the referees, and of course, you know, the partner in crime, Rem. Thank you so much. Any closing thoughts from you?
I just want to again thank everyone who was able to put this together. It was a pleasure being a part of something so special. It is Season 7, so this has been going on for so long, and it's because of you guys, the community, and the hardworking staff behind the scenes, from the community managers to the designers to the moderators to the developers. All of you make an equally important impact. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to cast these wonderful games, and for giving me for showing up fashionably late today. But you know, we closed it out. It was fun. We had a bang, and I hope to see you guys for Season 8.
Stop me. I'm going faster, wanna break away.